are set. We are here. We are ready to go. Hello, Draco Kraken. How are you? Boo will be in here shortly. He was getting food. So, he'll be joining us, in a bit. Aiden will not be joining us for the, discussion, unfortunately, tonight. So. Hope he doesn't miss anything juicy. Don't mind me. Drinking some strawberry lemonade V8 energy drink thing that's actually quite low on carbs. Didn't realize until, you know, getting a bunch of these things that of different types, that there were types that were low on carbs. So there you go. Not sponsored, obviously. Anyway, I want you all to know, hello Pizza Funk. I want you all to know that that I've well, no, you know what? I'll wait until Boo gets here so he can hear a little bit about it as well. Because I have delved slightly into the depths of depravity to a degree. I've not completed my research, but man, ugh. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you say you're gonna do something, you start doing that thing, and then you regret it immediately. But I'll get into that later. I will say, what depravity was this? Oh, I'll let you know. Don't you worry. You will know. Just wait for Boo to get here. It's ttrpg related, which could give you a hint, a strong hint. I've talked about it before. I talked about that I would look into it before. And again, I regret it. I regret doing that. Anyway. Is it fatal? 'Cause we warned you? Yes, it is fatal. Oh, you read Lusty Sword Lesbians? No, I didn't read that. I need to read that still. Because apparently it's, like, good. Yeah, no, okay, you know, I'll just start talking about it. It's fine. Yeah, I started looking into Fatal because everybody and their mother always talks about Fatal and how it's the worst thing ever. And, like, you know, I started watching a series of character creation videos from Zeothetep, I think his name is, on YouTube. And yeah, so it's bad. Having just gone through relevant character creation stuff, plus, you know, going into a little bit more of the rules that are in that 900-page fucking book, apparently. Yeah, no, bad. Real bad. Hello.
Okay, I guess I'll leave then.
Oh. No, I was talking about, I looked into Fatal a little bit.
Ah,
yeah,
bad.
Very bad. Like,
not funny bad, just
no,
bad.
not even funny bad. Like, actually racist bad.
Ooh.
Yeah, like and pseudo-intellectual bad.
Oh,
yeah,
so like Wubba Lubba Dub Dub is intelligent bad.
It was before that, but yeah. It's hello Timothy, and Pizza Funk says hello Ghost Man.
Hello.
Yeah, it's so
okay.
The author tries. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Fatal is the game where you can have an anal circumference, yes?
Yes.
What is the fucking purpose behind that?
There's
Is there one?
many
Or
depravities that you can inflict and do.
is there a purpose to those?
It's all couched in this pseudo intellectual claim of realism.
Ah,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah. It's it's
And
real bad.
and then I have to know, how big can it be? And how small can it be?
Depends on your race.
Okay, well, how big is the biggest?
I don't know. I've only been watching.
Why didn't you look into this more?
I've
You
only
call
been
yourself
watching.
a fucking researcher?
I've only been watching a character creation video so I could dip my toe in to see. And
I see.
it's so far I'm on part 3 of 4 and I don't know if there are more parts.
Oh jeez.
And they're like 45 to an hour long
Holy
videos cuz
That's
it
a long
goes
character
into
creator.
Oh, so far at the point that I'm at, the guys had to make 285 rolls for a character.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's so many goddamn tables. Like, you know how people joke about tables, being a big thing in 3.5? They haven't seen shit. Like,
Okay.
like Fatal is, and again, it's all couched in this, oh, I'm not racist, and I'm really going for realism for traditional medieval fantasy, so everyone's Caucasian, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's real bad. So
Jesus.
yeah, so don't I wouldn't recommend Fatal at all.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna continue to deep dive just to know the depths of this depravity. But yeah, it is as bad as you hear. And I've
Okay.
only gone through character stuff. It's real
That's
bad.
hilarious.
Anyway, Fatal makes the arguments about vampires' morality look like a joke. Yes. Yes. I was already predicting Rage of Madness tonight even before Fatal was mentioned. That's fair, Shin. Hello.
That is very funny.
Got here a bit late. What happened, Dan? What the fuck? Yeah, no, it's. I haven't even given. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TableTalk.
Welcome to the podcast.
Discussion and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Great on 95.
Yep, I'm the second one, and I'm eating boiled peanuts. So if I pause from now and then, that's me.
Very
that's
cool.
why.
Very cool.
I'm also gonna need to leave a couple times to go and get more.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Absolutely fair.
Because they are very good.
So yeah, there's my initial thing about Fatal. I just wanted to know how bad, if it was the worst thing, and I have to assume it's not the worst thing ever.
Oh sure,
because there's
not.
probably intentionally worse things out there, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of TTRPGs.
Yes.
But
so
it is not recommended in the slightest.
My only request is that if you go through and see if there is an actual like system or some kind of benefit to the sex, or if it really is just there to be realism.
Yeah, I'll see if there's literally any purpose to it at all. Other than
because obviously
it's
you have monsters in games where it's like, oh, a succubus, she'll use sex to fucking get you to sell your soul.
Yeah,
and that's a mechanic that you could, throw story elements
Oh,
behind.
actually, you've reminded me. So there's like a class system as well as a job system, and like so many of it's being a slave, it's fucked.
Nice. Tenshi the game?
It's real bad. And one of the things, the guy was making a character, and they got the occupation of a chambermaid. And one of the things about that is one of your duties as a chambermaid, of course, is to service the master and their sons. That's a thing that is a part of just the requirements. And also goes really in depth as to how chambermaids are basically just like, whores, but not really, throughout a bunch of different establishments. And
arose by any other name, basically.
Exactly. And one of the things to get advancements in your class, I guess, in your occupation, is to not, like, to do things well, as, like, cleaning and shit, as well as not get beaten.
Oh,
Yeah, every day you don't get beaten, you get an extra point.
That's hilarious.
It's
Oh
real
my
bad.
God.
Yeah. But I have to assume that part of that is the whole, like, that's gotta play into it. Like the
That's fucking hysterical.
Yeah,
It'd be like playing a Skaven character, and every day you don't get shanked, you
right.
go up a level.
Yeah, it's comically bad as well as just bad.
Yeah, Jesus fucking
Yeah.
Christ.
So again,
That sounds like a trip and a half.
wouldn't recommend it. I hate myself for doing it, but I said I would, and it's been like 4 years since I did, so I figured at this point, hey, whatever. I was playing Power Wash Simulator so I could wash away the shame and the filth.
Well, speaking of games,
Ugh.
I just finished Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened, and fucking I loved it.
Good. I'm glad. I'm
Now,
excited
I
for
don't
it.
know. I don't know how it compares to the original.
Oh, the original's not great. Don't get me wrong. It's just like kind of a thing. I just like
because I was reading the comments and like the reviews on The Awakened after I finished it.
Sure,
It's like, this game's really good, but they did leave out some stuff from the original, and I'm like,
oh, okay.
Well, sorry, chewing peanuts.
You're right.
But yeah, since it was my very first Sherlock Holmes game, I fucking loved it.
Yeah, probably wouldn't recommend going backwards for a lot of them.
I'm only going to the ones that are very recent.
I wouldn't even go that far back.
Really?
Yeah.
Like even the 2021 ones?
Yeah, honestly.
Wow.
Well, when was Testament? Hold on.
The one that I was looking at is the Sherlock Holmes and the Devil's Daughter.
Yeah, he's at least to me so far from what I played, he acts very weird. Sherlock does. And again, I've put it into words. I have a whole notepad that I was keeping track of my thoughts through it from the bit that I played. And I'm not particularly sure if it is mostly an adaptation argument that I have, which might just be invalid. So, like, it's one of those things where he seems very, very emotional and less about the truth.
Oh, I see.
Which I'm like, that's kind of core to the character. Like, being emotional and stuff is fine to a degree, because he does show emotion a lot of the time. He's just more aloof a lot of the time, right? In the original stuff. And
I got that from The Awakened.
Oh, good. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
But
he
like,
was very, very dry, very sarcastic, very witty.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's real good.
In I forget which story it is, but there's one time where he and Watson are going to a place to check it out and try to catch somebody, and Watson nearly fucking dies, and he gets so upset because he's like, Jesus Christ, my best friend nearly died. And like he gets real upset about that, and I'm like, oh, there you go. That's absolutely, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But in Devil's Daughter, it's like right at the beginning that he's like, no, we can't tell her about this stuff. No.
Oh.
And I'm like,
oh, that's weird.
I'm like, okay, what?
That's not what I got from the Sherlock and The Awakened at all.
Yeah, that's a reboot, so fair enough. But the Devil's Daughter was like a weird transition period between the older stuff and the newer stuff that they're doing now. I didn't like chapter 1 or whatever it's called, at least as much as I played of it, but I do intend to finish it because I own it. And I played a lot of it, so I couldn't refund it. And but the stuff from before that, like the older stuff, I like it. It's all good stuff. It's just it's way different. That's all. Yeah. So it might not be like, it's kind of more classic point and click adventure, but sometimes, you know, the puzzles are a little more esoteric and you don't really know where to go a lot of the time, because sometimes they give you like big maps and they're like, go, and you're like, but where do I go? You know?
Yeah. In this one, you have like, whenever you go to the next area, you always have one piece of evidence that's like, this is the main lead that you have.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, you still, like, you have notes and stuff for the older games, but it's just the I don't know, it's of its time, so unless you're paying complete attention all the time, I suppose, slash know the layout, I guess, of the map a little bit better, then, you know, you can get lost and
but
get
yeah,
to
I can safely say that as someone who as somebody who had patience for the Call of Cthulhu game,
right,
this was significantly better.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And it basically, I don't know if you played The Awakened or if you know the story of The Awakened.
I played the original, yeah.
Okay. Then you know that it is essentially Sherlock Holmes going through the original The Call of Cthulhu story, basically.
Yeah,
It's, man.
Which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really cool.
It's very good, very enjoyable. Really liked it.
Is Fatal a tabletop? Yes. Fatal is real shit? Yes. If I remembered right from when I skimmed, one of the punishments from the law is getting shackled for public use. Ugh. Fatal struck me like someone really loved the first episode of Goblin Slayer. Like, to a weird degree, yeah. Does Garibay like Fatal? No one likes Fatal. No one likes Fatal. Like, it's not something that anybody...
I imagine the creator likes Fatal.
Yes, but yes. Him and whoever he played that with, and there are certain types of people who would like Fatal. Absolutely. You could pick them out, but I wouldn't put that...
shame.
I wouldn't I wouldn't put that on Garibay. He's not the type. No, he's not that.
Yeah, dude, he's a good Christian boy. You know that.
Yeah,
we know that.
He's not that far gone. Anyway, okay.
Yeah. So, before you start, real quick, I will be right back. I'm going to go grab some more.
Oh, absolutely.
I already finished my first bowl.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't go look at Fatal. Just avoid it. You don't need that in your life. You really don't. I'll wait until he comes back before we get into the actual topic of the video. Or topics, excuse me. I'll give Garibay enough credit to assume he probably specifically disliked Fatal. Yes. I couldn't help myself. That's fair. That's fine. But no, it's really, really, really bad. And accusing somebody of such a thing would be a very bad thing if it were true. So, but what I will say is that it is a good reference of something you should not do for any sort of game. Any of them, really. Like, there are some things in those pages that I would go, that's an interesting idea for character creation. Not a lot, don't get me wrong. Not a lot at all. But there's, like, specific body parts having specific bits of damage associated to them. That's at least something. It's really bad and Fatal because you could, like, lose your entire body in one hit, because it's realistic, quote unquote. But other than that, everything else can go to hell. Mostly, I'm pretty sure that's the only thing I can think of is the specific body part damage system. That's the only thing that I could reference that you could pull out of it to, like, salvage. As far as I remember. But yeah. It's fucking stupid. It's a bad book. Bad thing. And I find myself fascinated on just how much work was put into it. So many tables. Yeah, that's true. And in the back, the guy, like, has a bunch of credits to studies and such, but none of them work for it. It's stupid. It's so bad. Again, pseudo-intellectual bullshit. It's dumb as hell. You can probably just pull body part damage out of Dwarf Fortress. You can pull it out of anything, yeah. Fatal makes a lot of people feel better about what they make. At least I don't write that. Yes, very true. Very true.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back. So,
sorry.
Are you ready to talk about how AD&D makes better players?
Sure.
Because that's the
Sounds
first
kind of
video we've
sussy.
got. Yeah, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know.
I would say that any game could make better players.
Exactly. I'm interested as to what specifically Dragonlance Saga is going to cite as to why AD&D makes better players. But
if you had to ask me, or if you told me to come up with a reason why, I would probably cite all the additional material.
Okay.
In oh wait, no, it's not 3.5.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, retracted.
I think honestly, it had a lot of options. It had a lot of things that you could utilize to create these stories and stuff, right? Pizza Funk has. I think the system can give a player perspective. That's true.
Sure.
But this is the thing. I think anything can do that, right?
Yeah. Being a good player is really all about mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I guess appreciation is something that I could go for, you know, if I really wanted to make an argument of like,
I guess
how.
But I mean, I think you can appreciate the game even if you're not.
Well, what I mean is appreciation for the evolution of D&D. I think that since and it's nothing to do with AD&D. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just how it's progressed from first to now AD&D. With its,
I guess so, but
I don't know.
That doesn't really strike me as something that is like necessary to be good.
No, absolutely not. That's the thing. I struggle to find anything to promote this being a better player, like making a better player, right?
So before, when I thought it was 3.5, my idea was that it was like, oh well, 3.5 has all of these additional systems like owning a shop and all these different things that you can do. And just those being hard-coded into the rules will make players be like, oh, you can do that in games like this. I ought to start thinking about other things that make logical sense.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Better players in terms of what? Well, we will find out, won't we? I would love to incorporate body part damage into a mech TTRPG. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh, that's already in BattleTech.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep. They even have rules for ammo explosions because if you, for example, if you store your ammo in your leg and your leg gets blown up, then the ammo explodes and damages all the additional parts.
There you go. Very cool. Humanity's rejection of Fatal is one thing Viridian has to respect. That's true. All right. So, here we go.
You would be a better player if you played this game.
Oh, straight up. Okay.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay. Also, I would like to say, if this video is really bad, don't let that drive you away from Dragonlance as a setting, as a whole, because Dragonlance is fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, this isn't even about Dragonlance specifically, you know?
I know.
But Dragonlance is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just by association.
Oh, that's great GM. That's how to be a great GM's intro thing. Whoa!
Man, what the fuck? Whoa! Kevin McLeod, you're back again. I assume.
Welcome to another Dragonlance Saga episode. My name is Adam, and today we're going to discuss how Advanced Dungeons & Dragons makes you a better player. I would like to take a moment and thank the DL Saga members and invite you to consider becoming a member by visiting a link in the description below.
I'll consider it.
You can even pick up Dragonlance gaming materials using my affiliate links.
Ooh.
I'm referencing my 34 years of dungeon mastering and playing tabletop role-playing games in every edition of Dungeons & Dragons. If your opinion differs from mine, that's great! Leave your thoughts in the comments below.
Okay, that's at least something.
When modern players who started playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition because of popular culture series like Stranger Things or actual play online shows like Critical Role, they were presented with a game that, on its face, tried to be balanced. But, as with any game which has continually added character options for a decade, the system is anything but. It does, however, provide players with heroic characters whose only struggle is to keep their players interested in playing them after 6 to 10 levels. Why would a player grow bored playing a character after that long? Well, there are a plethora of reasons, but at the top of the list would be homogeneity. With few exceptions, you could strip away specifics and all characters can melee, fire off some form of magical attack,
don't do
heal
this.
themselves with a short rest, and excel at skills whose ability scores can go up to 20 or more. The whole premise...
Yeah, but, okay, so you can kind of do that in any of them, though.
Well,
like, to a degree.
There were the times when, you know, rogues were the only one who could do traps and shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, in general, I would at least argue for that, of, like, well, anybody can try to disable a trap. It's the specific things for classes and stuff that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's very specific. Even in 3.5, we've had moments of like, oh, this is only for this class. You know?
Yeah.
So there's specific things that I'm like, oh yeah, only this class, you can have that, and that makes you special.
Only the chambermaid can give hand jobs.
That's right.
Obviously.
But it's in general, I think, if you want to open up things like with a lockpick, as long as you have the set, it's like, oh well, anybody could learn that at least.
Yeah.
But pickpocketing is something that's more, I guess. Well, even pickpocketing, you can kind of learn that. And
yeah,
stuff,
you can try. You just practice.
It's just one of those things, right? You can make arguments, but at the same time, the potential that you had from the specialization of skills was to make them very unique, which I agree that there's a little bit more sameness to every character in that respect for skills. But if we're gonna be reductive and go, every character can attack with a melee attack and cast spells and stuff, it's like, well, yeah. You know what multiclassing is, right?
Yeah.
You could always do that.
And so we're going to argue that all the characters are homogenous because you can strip them all down to their basics.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
In an actual game. You wouldn't.
Well, it's disingenuous because you can do that in the other systems.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So, this falls flat so far.
Also, implying that 5th edition is, it's not balanced, but AD&D is?
No, I'm guessing that the idea is that it's not balanced.
Oh, AD&D itself isn't also balanced?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because they're like, oh, so the game started out not balanced, and now it's very, very, overbalanced, effectively.
Oh, but he said that it's presenting itself as being balanced, but it isn't balanced.
Because he was saying that it's presenting itself as being balanced, but it can never be balanced.
Oh, okay.
But it attempts to be. And so in the pursuit of balance, it loses something. Yeah, it's kind of like how in the olden days, fighters were really strong in the beginning, and they plateaued early. Whereas wizards, calling down fucking meteor storms and shit later on.
Yeah. Which, again, I would say that AD&D still has that problem, so it's a weird point to bring up. I don't know. I guess if he goes farther into it, he'll
need some more.
But otherwise, just having the implication is weird.
It is.
Dragon Chainer Lance from Pokemon? That's right. The Dragon Knight uses Outrage. That's true.
Of encounters seems to be based on an action game like God of War. Run into combat, kill as quickly as possible, rinse and repeat.
Isn't that what you want to do in AD&D as well? Because you can die way easily in AD&D?
Yeah.
You want that fight over as quickly as possible, brother.
You can make a fair argument that players and Dungeon Master styles are what encourage this style of playing.
Sure.
But when the game presents player characters in this light, it's hard to see anyone playing them any differently without a background in role-playing or playing older versions of the game like Advanced Dungeons & Dragons.
Okay, that I will give you, at least.
So the thing that I would like to know so far is he's going on and on and on about how the other systems, don't encourage good. Whatever. Good blank. But I would like to hear why AD&D does.
Yeah, I guess here we go.
Hopefully.
This could easily be tracked back to original Dungeons and Dragons, but I prefer AD&D because Dragonlance was designed for it originally.
Oh,
And
okay.
seeing as I'm writing, performing, and producing this video, you're stuck with it. Now, before you throw your hands in the air and repeat the mindless drone-like phrase of, "Okay, boomer," or dismiss my thoughts as nothing but a grognard's constipated complaints, I would initially ask you to stop giving in to obvious and trite internet culture's witless banter, and then give me a few minutes.
Could you have some self-confidence in your fucking arguments and just not do
and
this?
also not be so fucking patronizing?
Yeah. Could you just not do this, please? Jesus Christ.
How off-putting.
Yeah.
I'm running a 5th edition game right now.
Oh,
and
I
have
do it
run
too.
past 5th edition
Wowee.
games. I'm playing tabletop role-playing games.
I'm just like you. Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, right?
No, it's like,
But, like, don't ignore me. I'm playing the game you play.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Jesus
You
Christ.
don't need to justify it to us. We can understand that they're like, you can like and dislike something and still utilize it. Like, or
Jesus
find something
Christ.
better or worse and still utilize it. Like, that's, I understand that the popular culture that we have makes it so that you're not allowed to like anything that's bad, and you're also only supposed to say good things about bad things and all of this, but like, can we just at least talk to people as if they have, I don't know, any sort of ability to discern anything?
Yeah.
Like, general intelligence?
Do you have an audience?
Yes.
Stop treating your audience like the enemy, please.
Yes. And I guess you're trying to get other people to watch this video, so that's who you're talking to. But again, I assume it might be that your audience is insulated to the point of only thinking that everybody else outside of it might be this way. I don't know. But
Yeah,
again,
Jesus.
if you treat them like that, yeah, they're gonna be that way towards you. Fucking hell. I suppose you can say you want to avoid combat whenever you can in AD&D. That is also true. Fair enough.
But you can also do that in 5e.
Yes. But I will give him the point that with 5e, it does kind of encourage your combat and everything a lot more.
It is a combat game,
for
yes.
sure. Gamers will always find a way to bust a game, so true balance is hard. That is true.
Yes.
The moment I somewhat defend him, he has to say that kids these days stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Not a single edition of a role-playing game. This gives me something called perspective, a
Oh my
concept that
fucking
seems to be
God.
lacking in social media and our culture at large.
Well, I agree
Perspective
with
is
you. We
also
don't need
something that is
this.
integral to being a good role player in general.
There's a way for you to integrate this in a way that doesn't seem patronizing. Okay?
Indeed. There's a way to say all this without being an ass or
Yeah.
coming off as an ass.
Exactly.
And I'm the one who has a voice. When played back, I sound like an asshole all the fucking time.
So it's just called it. Yeah, there you go, Pizza Funk. Yeah.
It allows you to immerse yourself into a character, to understand the motivations and drives
That's
of a given
fucking
character
insane,
based on
wow.
their race and class. Another way of saying that is that your choices on behalf of the character are informed by their culture and experiences, not your own. How does one immerse themselves into a fantasy culture? Game mechanics and imagination.
Yes, true.
In
Let's
5th
go.
edition, there's a brief paragraph on alignment, then a sentence dismissing the entire concept.
Yeah, because it fucking sucks. It doesn't like having okay. Oh, we've said it many a time. Alignment is a guideline. It is a guideline for you because no one is purely good. No one is purely evil, and there are things that you can do in the name of good as a bad person and in the name of bad as a good person.
Alejo, let me ask you a question.
I would love to answer your question.
Where are you on the tic-tac-toe board?
I don't even know.
For the sake of argument, because you are an adjusted human being that operates in society,
yes,
we are going to assume that you are at least neutral good or lawful good.
Sure. Okay. We'll go with lawful good because I do follow my own code of ethics / laws. Yes.
Exactly. Now, do you own a pet, or have you ever owned a
I
pet?
have owned pets before. Yes.
If I came up to you and shot your pet,
Oh.
would you be just like, oh, okay? Or would you fucking probably attack me outright?
I would absolutely more than likely attack you outright. You have killed a beloved member of my family.
Exactly. But attacking someone is an evil action, so you
is.
can't do that.
It's just,
It's not as though people are multifaceted or can
No.
act in fucking bursts of emotion in stressful moments.
There's nuance. It's crazy, whoa.
You can never have a villain walking through a town and see a cute fucking puppy and bend down and pet it.
Right. Yeah, no, they have to be pure evil all the time.
Yes.
They gotta kick
God
their
fucking
puppies.
damn. Yes, they cannot like anything nice.
No.
They're evil after all.
And like
They can't like good food. Don't you know they all eat fucking pig slop?
like it's one of those things where I don't know what we're doing here. And no, I do know what we're doing here. We're going, oh, in AD&D it mattered. And like, yeah, it still matters to a degree. Like for protection from good and evil and certain weapons and stuff, you have to be of a certain alignment. But those are usually reserved for the general good or the general evil. Like, we don't have to go really specific anymore. And I would argue that I would honestly do away with a lot of those things in general just because it depends on the person at the time, because they could change later on, you know? So
there are certain things that are true evil and true good, but they are exceptionally rare.
Yes.
At least when you are thinking about the system and all the creatures within it as a whole.
Yes.
But you can name one actually, no, you can name three. You can name three things that are true evil. Devils, demons, and the undead.
Yes.
The undead will always act, at least in most editions, they are pure evil.
Exactly.
Because they do not have the ability to not do otherwise.
Yes.
Exactly. If they see that dog, they will kill it. It is the living.
Yes.
They do not like the living. It doesn't matter who they are.
And even, like, it just...
Even then, you could kind of argue that that's more like true neutral,
right.
But at least to the people who are discussing the alignment, which would theoretically be, you know, the elves, the humans, the dwarves, and shit like that, and that's evil.
Exactly.
It's just going to kill people for no reason.
For sure. And they're like...
Demons, even easier. They are destruction incarnate for destruction's sake.
Yeah, they're pure chaos.
Yes.
So...
And then... devils want to hurt people and get them sent to hell so that way they can benefit, yada, yada, yada.
And
true good is harder to nail down, but you get the idea.
Yes, exactly. It's way easier to cite evil, for sure. We have a whole campaign that we can point to of evil characters that do some nice things every now and then. It's not necessarily because of it being nice for niceness sake, but it is.
There's
nice
always
things.
a reward at the end of it.
Oh, for sure. Or
a payment of some kind.
Yeah, or just personal motivation. Like, it really. But at the core, we all are like, nah, fuck those guys. Fuck them.
Yeah,
you're all forever.
You're all self-serving dickheads.
Yes.
Aside from the people that you actually do like.
Yes, exactly.
Tharnanar being one of them, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
Also, this guy seems like he gets into fights on Twitter a lot. Don't act like people automatically think you're wrong. Stop acting high and mighty, please. Yep.
Yeah, God. It's so...
it's a bad mentality to start with and to poison me with. Come on, man. Because I'm literally like, I just want to hear your arguments. That's all. World War III could be fought over what Viridi's alignment is. There you go. There's more gray than black and white. Yes. Bob Ross is true good. Yes.
Yes. No, he is true good.
That's right.
He is good.
Viridia's clerics definitely aren't channeling negative energy, though. Yeah, there you go. Massimo would not hurt the dog, though. Yeah, well, so that's the thing. There's, again, nuance. It's crazy,
Yes.
right? Because, like, vampires themselves, I mean, there's a whole different conversation we can have about undead that have the ability to choose, right?
Yes, there are what's the term? Oh fuck. Sapient?
Yes.
Or
sapient.
undead?
Sapient.
Versus like zombies or
Yes.
skeletons that are just, they're just mindless, evil.
Yes, exactly.
They want to seek out the living and kill them for no reason.
Well, because they're hungry or, want to
yes.
just kill.
Yeah.
Or were summoned to, and they are just a tool. Are they really the problem? Who knows? Anyway.
We should be feeding them.
Yeah,
they're hungry.
That's right. Anyway.
Races, but the only thing that truly separates them is game statistics rather than cultural identities. When players are not presented structural reasons for choosing one race over another, it's no wonder every race is treated the same.
Wait, what?
But the true reasons
are you actually arguing that there's no reason to not choose different races?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What? They all have statistical advantages and well, no, not disadvantages anymore, but like just in general statistical advantages, as well as if we're going
abilities and shit.
Yeah, if we're going by raw, they have different societies, they have different temperaments. They there's so many factors here that are in your player's handbook if you want to go Faerunized humans, Faerunized dwarves, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. And just as an aside,
yeah.
if he's like the Dragonlance saga, I can at least assume that he plays in the Dragonlance setting, right. And Dragonlance has basically all the same races that you can play as.
Exactly. And I assume what he would argue is, well, because I have this experience with these older editions, I see them differently than somebody who's brand new who looks at them and doesn't. And it's like, they don't read, I guess? I don't, come on. What are we talking about here? I don't understand why you assume this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Players' mindless rinse and repeat actions are not simply due to their character builds, but the fundamental game structure. It's an overly simple game.
Okay,
that's the first thing I can really agree with.
I would
5e
say
is an overly simple game.
It is very simplistic for sure, but there's a reason for it. And
exactly.
You can make it more complex, thankfully. There's room to make it more complex. And if you're going by the actions, just the actions that you can utilize, let me tell you, sir, that the actions that you had before in AD&D, like disarming, like charging, all that kind of stuff, they still exist, but some are now gated off to different classes, because something like disarming somebody does take a bit more skill than some, but I would still allow other people to try to do it,
Yes.
But if we're going by raw, then yeah, it's just it's now just for Battlemaster fighters who can do their lunges, they can do their disarms, they can do all that kind of crazy battle tactics. But I just if you want to, if there's still in fact, they actually added more actions later on. With the bonus action, that wasn't a thing before. There was just full actions, normal actions, and not standard. Free actions, I think. And yes, movement and stuff, but I'm just talking about actions in general, which then you could flavor with doing other things.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, I don't know, man. Just fucking, I don't know, do what you want to do in your thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Now, there's nothing wrong with simple games. It's just that when every encounter is presented as a hack and slash solution, you lose the role-playing aspect and degrade to action video game tactics.
Can I point to the part in the book that's talking about role-playing?
Yeah.
And also, can I point to... Now, it's not necessarily specifically in the PHB for 5th edition, but common sense, I guess, basic tactical awareness, can be utilized in order to make it so that an encounter isn't just go up to the thing, hit it a few times, you're done. You know?
Yeah.
Environmental aspects are a thing. They're even in your DMG, so...
But nobody uses the DMG, though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about brand new people who might not even know that it's not useful.
That might not know that you're not supposed to use
That's right. But regardless, the tools are there. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't use them or not. The tool is there. So you can spice up your combat to make it so that there's a little bit more going on. And again, basic understanding of the world you can utilize. So,
yeah.
Come on.
I've seen this in my own 5th edition games, where rather than, dare I suggest, making yourself vulnerable for a moment by changing your clothing and equipment to bluff your way into an enemy encampment, you send a single player to sneak in who actually believes they can succeed alone. Do you see my point here? They have so much faith in the abilities of a single character that they let them, alone, invade an enemy encampment filled with enemies.
Okay, so
you're not supposed to stealth as a fucking group.
So I'm gonna reserve for the actual follow-up to this point, because I hope there's a fucking follow-up. Because, one, yeah, you can all stealth as a group if you're good enough to do that / in situations where that works. Or two, you can split the party now, which is a viable strategy now. Before it wasn't
fucking huge.
Before it wasn't as viable, and even before, you still saw it on occasion because they could stealth and you could not. Like very well. And what's the problem with having confidence that your character might go through a situation successfully? What's the problem with having that character have a moment in the limelight, whereas they absolutely needed every single other character every time?
Yeah, like, God, that sounds like a fucking pain in the ass, honestly.
Like, I'm fine with your group going around and doing everything together. There's nothing wrong with that, okay?
Yeah.
But heaven forbid, if I want my thief to go off and steal something on his own so that he, one, doesn't make it so the rest of the party is implicated necessarily, two, knows that the others of the party either might not agree or might fuck it up, and three, wants to, I don't know, have a personal reason to go and do that by themselves, whether to prove it to themselves or just to, I don't know, have a moment away from the party or something. Like, I don't see why you're against that when it's so ripe for storytelling. And
I don't know, man.
If they go out and they don't succeed, if they go out and they die, that's fine. Because they chose that. And giving the player the choice to go somewhere and do something on their own is something that's incredibly valuable.
Sometimes the player chooses to climb up that 20-story hotel. Sometimes they don't remember that they could just get in on the 2nd floor.
That's right. There's
I die a lot.
It's just
fucking annoying.
It's one of those things where I don't want to hamper the player. I will give them the warning, but I won't tell them they can't do something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because unless it's something that is actually impossible, or something that will not get them anywhere, and they're at a point where I'm like, okay, well, that actually won't help you in any way. I just want to tell you that so that you don't unnecessarily do something and spend like resources doing it, which, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I just don't understand this mentality. And I really, this explanation had better be fucking solid, because I don't know how you could sway me from this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's gonna be fucking hard.
I learned last night that in the book, the Hellraiser movies are based on Pinhead asked for consent before doing his spiky stuff to them. He followed his own guidelines and he didn't just do it. Oh, that's interesting.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Huh. This statement can be said about almost every system. Man, Deckers think they can hack the entire building alone. Yup, that's like their job. Yeah, exactly. So he's both arguing for things to be more specialized, as well as now saying, oh, because they're confident that their character can overcome things because of either specialization or, well, he hasn't said specialization, but just in general, like that the character themselves can do this situation because they're suited for it, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, they need to be together because otherwise, so here we go. Give me your reasoning, please.
How can you believe they see this as a challenge when it only takes a solo action hero to overcome it? When the game ended in a total party kill or TPK session, I would like to believe that they thought again. I don't blame the players for this approach as much as the game's system. They're constantly told that they are heroes by the game, given powers of heroes. So how could they believe they need to use creativity or ingenuity to solve problems?
That's insane.
Oh my God.
You're insane. You're actually insane.
Yeah, this is what the fuck.
What are you talking about when they utilize their abilities creatively so that they can overcome situations either alone or together? I don't.
Yeah.
Why is it now stuck in back in AD&D? We had specific things that they had to be creative with to overcome these challenges, where now in 5th edition we have all of these things that they can utilize to overcome these challenges creatively.
Yeah.
Like
what the fuck?
What are we doing? What are you doing?
I don't know. God.
I've run into this again and again with 5th edition players.
I'm sorry.
The party's low on health and magic? Let's continue exploring. It seems no one ever considers a creative approach to a problem beyond opening the next door and bashing the bad guy over the head. They would never.
That sounds like you have shitty players.
And also, maybe, I don't know, like, give them a scenario where that doesn't work.
Yeah, how about that?
Maybe utilize your experience to teach them to be more creative if this is something that you continue to encounter all the time. You know? Like, you boast about your 34 years of experience. Fucking teach something then to them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Sounds like you're not using it too much.
What the fuck? Yeah, if you're gonna complain about this all the time, I you know what? No, I will assume at least that you do to a degree afterwards, right?
I sure hope.
I'm going to assume that because otherwise I don't know what you're doing with these situations. Because if you're just having these situations so often and just complaining about them, then there's
nothing.
Exactly.
We got nothing then.
So, like, I have to assume that you are actually utilizing your experience to help these people become more creative, if this is something that is so frequent.
Oh, God.
So, just do that more, if that is the problem you're seeing. But, personally, I haven't seen that. But, again, that's anecdotal, as well as yours is, so I guess we have that kind of conflicting there on equal ground, at least.
Yeah.
I just... Heroes don't have to use creativity? What?
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
I don't know. I have... Like, again, he's saying all they do is they go in, they bash the thing on the head. It's like, so, what's the details to that?
Yeah.
Right? Because it can't be that you are giving them flat planes that they go through a hallway and then come into another flat plane to then fight a thing that's just going to stand there. It can't be, because, again, you also are experienced and you are either running this or playing with other people. So by your example of how you either run it or play a character, you are giving them ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be.
Presumably.
You have to be. I can't assume that you aren't, because, again, you are boasting that you have all this experience and that you are utilizing characters in the correct way. You know? I mean, you're not saying it's the correct way, but you are implying it.
Yeah.
So, but like, because of that, people will have that osmosis effect of what they can do. So, fucking,
Man, this sucks.
It does. I'm glad you prefaced it with your negativity of oh, you guys are just gonna say I'm a yeah, you are. I'm sorry, you are. You really are a grognack. I don't even know what the fuck the term is. I know, right? That was so cool to find out. Makes him way more interesting. They did follow that a bit in the first 2 movies. Others not so much. Really? Oh, cool. He has a narrow look on D&D, it seems. Apparently. I don't understand. Yeah. I don't get it.
Leaving the dungeon and resting for a single second, only pressing onward until they can take a short rest and heal themselves. And when they die, they have up to 5 rolls to save themselves, because heaven forbid another player helped destabilize their fallen comrade. That would mean...
Yeah, you just have shit-ass players, dude.
Yeah.
Again, this is a symptom of the game's system, not the
player.
No,
it's not.
It really isn't. Yeah, I mean, like...
It's really not. This is players, man.
To a degree, I will give you this, okay? Because of how accessible 5th edition is, and because of how easily it says you can go into combat and you can solve the problem that way, there is at least some of a bias, okay? To get into combat and end those things as quickly as they can to progress through whatever situation they encounter. I'll give you that much. But I'm not going to go all the way and say that the entire system is doing this, because you also have the factor of the players themselves being brand new, or maybe some are not brand new. Maybe they have a little bit of experience, who knows? You also have your DM, who is either brand new or has experience, and they have to figure out how to present these situations in a way that doesn't make it so that it's like this all the time. Again, there's a buy-in that you have of like, oh, my character's gonna die. Uh-oh, that's bad, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors here that we can point to of things that we can get from more experience, or being taught by people with experience, or, again, watching things with experience. Because if you cite Critical Role, my guy, people die in that game. In those games. It's happened frequently, in fact, and they all seem to care about their characters and if they're going to die or not. They do seem to care about if they have proper resources and such, so they don't always just go barreling in, and they roleplay a hell of a lot. Even in situations that are combat focused, there's role play in how they handle those situations.
Yeah.
So I remember specifically in campaign 2 for Critical Role, Liam O'Brien was playing his wizard man that I forget the name of, and they were in a situation where things were going to lead to a combat, and what he did was he created a wall of fire to make it so that he could block off the opposing force so that they could have a better tactical advantage. He utilized this spell in a way to block off a bunch of guys so that they could do things better. And that, even though it is combat, that is a tactical decision that is roleplay specific, because his character also has this whole thing with fire and stuff, and like there's reasons why he's got a lot of these fire spells, and if you paid attention, you can see that he was doing it for those kinds of reasons, and that there's kind of this thing of hesitancy because of that fire stuff, but he's gained more confidence over time because of this group. And okay,
it's just
really
not
awful. Good. It's just not good.
No. Ooh, so I will be right back. I'm sorry. I've got to use the restroom.
You're good. I'm just going to keep going.
So, yeah, don't wait for me.
Given to play, which means the fundamental problem is the addition. But all is not lost. You can learn to be a better player. You can learn to be a creative problem solver. You can immerse yourself in restrictions which promote ingenuity.
Now this is something that I agree with, at least. Everybody who does not like 3.5 and the older systems says, oh, everything's on the table. Not everybody, obviously, but there's a lot of points that are made of like, oh, you have so many tables and everything's kind of got to be on this stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, but you can, because of those limitations, be creative with what you have. That's just in general for every game. You can still be creative with, again, all the spells and everything in 5e, with all of your tactical decisions and everything in 5e, but you just have to look at the at what you can do and at what you want to do and kind of figure out a way to kind of have it work. And I will say, as is being pointed out, the addition of the options that Boo had pointed out as well before, the addition of the options that are introduced because of those tables, because of the source material, all of that stuff makes it so that you can think, oh, that's a mechanic that's been put into a source book. What if I utilize something that's kind of like that? Or what else could I do in this system? There is something to that, and it does promote creativity, but it's not the only way.
It would mean learning slightly different game mechanics and difficulty overcoming obstacles, but success is within reach. My solution is not to watch endless Dungeons & Dragons content creators who instruct you on how to be a better player or dungeon master, but
agree.
instead playing older versions of the same game. That's right. Older versions of Dungeons & Dragons still exist. They're out there in their complex, challenging, and frustrating glory. Why are those things good for you as a player? Because they force you to grow as a player rather than search for the best character build.
So here's the other thing that kind of goes against what you have just said. Optimizing is something you can do even more efficiently in these systems. We talked about this so long ago of the what was it, the bomb, the city block spell bomb thing that you can do in 3.5. I believe Shin talked about it a long while ago. At this point, we've gone for years, so who knows how long it's been actually. I don't know, but legitimately it's so much easier to look at those rules and find ways around them and create the most optimal thing in the world because of feats, because of this and that and the other thing. Locate city bomb. Thank you. Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Shin. The way that you can create these things because of the way that the rules are written. So you can create absolutely ridiculous things that are and only be set in your ways about single characters and single classes and all that kind of stuff because they are the most optimal. Especially when you can see and do the math. That's in every system. That's in every game. You can't just like say that, oh, because 5th edition has limitlessness, or I guess less limited rules, that you just go for the optimized shit, when the tables and stuff really do promote this as well in a different way. Wouldn't say it's optimal, just world breaking. A lot of the time the world breaking stuff is optimal. That's the thing, right? Yeah, I have an example of something that was just thought up because of how reactions work. And it's called the peasant rail cannon. Okay? Mostly because I'm pretty sure it would kill you too if you use it. True. The peasant rail cannon is you get a bunch of fucking peasants, you get a thing, a stone, whatever, and you have them stand shoulder to shoulder for as long as you need to, and free actions, or single actions, whatever, Free actions can be utilized, and you could pass a stone, I think, by making it so that you had quick draw as a so it would actually be quick draw for a dagger or something, I think. And give all of them quick draw somehow. Or you could do this with characters. It doesn't really matter. The point is, quick draw makes it so that every drawing a weapon becomes a free action. And so if you draw the weapon between all of your guys as a free action, that's less than 6 seconds every moment that you are idiot. Yeah, that's not a sentence. A free action is less than 6 seconds. If they're passing it, then every 6 seconds you're passing a dagger to another person. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on until you hit the last one and they throw it, or they let it loose, whatever. And it keeps all that momentum, and it's basically a railgun. It's possible. Because everyone can do that. Everyone can utilize an action in 6 seconds. Or a free action in 6 seconds. So
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. I'm mad.
Oh,
Guys,
okay, so what happened?
Right now he's saying, now again, you talked about this before with all the stuff that was in the source books and stuff from before in previous editions. It promotes creativity because you see the stuff that's written down and you think, oh, well, maybe I could do this because that has inspired me, right? Like the shop rules and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying that basically that 5th edition only promotes you to be as optimal as possible because of how limitless the rule set seems, or at least less limited. I'm sorry. And I've just been going on about how you can optimize the hell out of all these older systems way more easily in a different way it promotes it. And I was just talking about the peasant rail cannon.
I know a character that I saw recently who basically every time he would roll spot or a hide, it would just work. And that was in 3.5. So, yeah.
It's really...
Got to the point where I was asking for rolls, and I knew that it didn't matter. Unless it was a 1, it wouldn't have mattered.
That's right.
He could roll a 2, and it would have been like a 27.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fucked.
So does that mean the best players play 1st edition and nothing else by his logic? No. His logic is you are a better player when you play older editions because they limit you and you have to be more creative. When I would argue the same could be true about 5th edition because it has less content that you have written down, so you have to be more creative to find things to like utilize the system.
That is hilariously true. Also, sorry, I don't mean to...
Good.
Do you know if you're going to be like going to bed immediately after this?
I won't. No, I won't be.
Oh, okay, because Brogan just messaged me.
Okay.
And he wants to hang out if we are still good to go after the podcast, and we could all totally play Lethal Company.
Ooh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
the 3.5 still isn't AD&D. The point still stands that it's an older edition that he's asking you to learn, you know, because that will make you better. And I'm sure you can definitely optimize in 1E and 2E though. Yes, exactly. So the point still stands. There's nothing, even though I'm using 3.5 as the reference, that's only because I know 3.5 more than I know AD&D or 1st edition. So again, it's still just
In Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, your chances of rolling a hero are slim to none. You more often than not create a character that is slightly above average, who you have to play long enough to evolve into a hero.
Sure.
You don't have non-weapon proficiencies or skills until 1.5 edition with Oriental Adventures. This means that there is nothing telling you on the page that you can or cannot try an unconventional tactic like intimidation, acrobatics, helping a wounded ally, or negotiation. So it's up to the player's creativity and roles rather than a stat on a sheet, which provides options for success.
And again,
seriously,
literally, I can just point to, okay, so it doesn't say you can disarm on your sheet, so unless I am a battle master, in which case, can I still attempt it?
Yeah, and
like,
I'm like,
immediately.
So now we're talking about fucking shit that you have not or do written down.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have to be like, okay, my sheet's blank and I'm all out of shit to do. What can I do?
Yeah.
Really?
You can literally
God
just
forbid
flip
that
everything he's been saying, and it's the counter.
Yeah. God fucking forbid I just, I don't know, write down the things I know how to do.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Well, no, so ultimately the point is, on 5th edition sheet, everything that you can do is basically on your sheet. And
I guess if you're uncreative, yeah.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. That's exactly it.
That's literally it.
You don't,
it's like, this is everything I can do, and I can do nothing else.
Exactly.
Unless.
If you don't think at all, and you just go by what's written down on your sheet, yeah, of course, you're only going to do what's written down on your sheet. But I would argue that everyone, like, sure, younger people, like children and those who haven't played at all, will gravitate towards all that they can do on the sheet because that's all they know at the time.
Yes.
Right? Inexperience makes it so that you are unaware of what you can do in the system.
But you ever heard those stories of people when, you're watching D&D videos and shit, and a new player says, I can do that?
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot.
It does. And so what happens is, as you keep playing whatever system you're playing, doesn't matter what system it is, doesn't even need to be D&D.
It doesn't. It could be Fatal.
It could be.
It's not, but it could be.
If you are brand new, you won't know the system back to front. You won't know everything that you can do. You also won't necessarily know exactly like what can be allowed or not. And what you do is you say, "Hey, Mr. DM man, can I
do this?
Do this exactly." And then
then when he says no, you whip out the old chestnut. Quit stifling my creativity, Mr. DM man.
Exactly. So, come on. 5th edition has limits. What does he even mean? Well, so he is, because 5th edition has less limits. He has a problem with it because it stifles the creativity.
Yeah,
that's his thing. Because it isn't there.
I think it is more so where it's like, you make a character, your character is going to be good.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and I think that's what he's going for. It's like, you make like a character that's like really good from the beginning, and you don't need to.
Okay.
It's like that.
Yeah,
I think.
I get you. Yeah. So, there's no growth whatsoever because they're already really good at stuff, and they won't necessarily die very easily.
Yeah,
it's like,
so now because their character starts out really good, they don't have to be creative.
It's like,
but
what's the situation that I'm in though?
Right?
Like, what does the DM put in front of me? I don't. Okay.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna make a castle, and you got to get in.
Okay.
I'm not coming up with every option. I'm gonna say they could go through the front door, they could sneak in through like a delivery, or they could climb the wall.
I was actually...
There's way more than just that.
I was gonna say, I was actually thinking, so if there's a moat, there must be somewhere that they have like sewers or something, some kind of system in order to deliver that water. I actually want to go into the moat and see if I can find that. That's immediately what came to my head. You know?
Wow.
I just...
creativity.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how easily you can have it. But again, my entire point to counter all of his stuff is, yes, inexperience is one of those things that you can't really cite as a problem, because that's kind of what you're doing. People are inexperienced and they look at this sheet and they go, this is what I can do. Yes, because they have no experience in the system.
Yes.
That's it.
They don't know that their mind is all they need.
Yes. So anyway,
it's real bad.
It's bad. I'm pretty sure it's more optimal to start as a human fighter than dual class into a magic user than to start as a magic user. Yes.
Yes, it is.
The players can also add more limits if they want in 5th edition to make it better for them. Here's the secret. You could have done that. You always could have.
Yeah.
Always could have. That's the thing.
You could have just asked the DM and be like, hey, we want to do it like this.
Yeah.
You fucking got it.
That's crazy.
That sounds interesting.
It's almost like in every single book, I don't know about 1st edition, every single book that I know of, they've put in the words, you are the arbitrator of the rules. If you don't like something or you want to do something different, you have that power.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Not just magic user, cleric, and thief too. Yes, true.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm basing all this on my strats from computer games. That's fair. I said this before, but the sky's the limit with TTRPGs. Make it what you want, that is, or at least what it should be like. D&D is just tools you build the house. Yes, it's just the tools. Absolutely. And if you change it to the point where it's no longer D&D, that's fine. It's just, it's one of those things of like how much is it's the ship of Theseus thought experiment. So how much for you personally is this still D&D? Right?
Ship of the sus.
That's right.
Sorry.
You're good.
There are racial stereotypes with class, experience, level, and alignment restrictions that are intended to provide perspective balance between each. At low levels, your characters are very vulnerable, and you have to be creative to survive a world that is not there for you to dominate, but rather to destroy you.
Well, that's a weird way.
It depends on how it's being run.
Yeah, that's a weird way to look at it. Okay, the potential is there for either scenario.
Yeah.
All the time.
Especially in the older editions, honestly.
Especially, yeah.
Because, you could have way better shit in the older editions. Like, nowadays, you don't get a fucking keep as a fighter. You don't get your own wizard's tower as a mage.
Yeah, it's not baked in.
Yeah.
So
that shit was cool.
It was sick. Okay.
The whole sensibility of characters in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is to have a folder full of ones you can play when yours is ultimately killed. Because characters are not heroes out the gate. You have to be considerate in encounters. Perhaps you negotiate with goblins rather than rush and attack them. Are your casters out of spells? Well, you leave the dungeon and return to town. Sleeping in the wilderness or a dungeon is as dangerous as exploring it while awake.
It's one of those things where
it's not. You just fucking have somebody fucking keep watch.
It's one of those things where it's just funny to hear you can do this in this more often than you can do it in this. And it's like, but I can do this in both the exact same amount. It's just that I have the idea that I can do that.
Yeah.
And again, if you're a new player, you might not have that idea initially, but again, the more experienced you are in these systems, the more creative you will be. Not absolutely, but there is the potential for you to become more creative the more you learn the systems. Doesn't matter what they are.
Actually, real quick,
do
you know if we play Lethal Company, does Brogan need to have the same mods that we do,
or
is it like a lobby thing?
I think
you do.
I think you might. Yeah. So
okay, I'll go ahead and
tell
him that.
Get the list.
Yeah.
So is he a DM that just wants to kill the players? That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Because you have to know how it feels for your character to die at level 1. You have to.
Right? I don't get it.
It's an experience for sure, but it's not something that's absolutely necessary, I wouldn't say. So, but I guess YouTube didn't like my solution to the castle problem. Not a fan of war crimes, apparently. True.
Weapons are more or less effective against different armor types. You have to be considerate with how you position.
So I would like for there to be more of that, and what you can do now is you can create that as a system in the 5th edition or any edition later on. It's crazy if you want to.
Oh,
whoa,
God,
wowee!
Hilarious.
It's one of those, again. I appreciate the older systems, and I appreciate what they have baked in because, as we've said, they have inspired us many a time.
Mhm.
And the best part is, you don't even need to play those fucking systems to get that inspiration. You can just read them and then play 5th edition with those things in mind. You don't have to play these at all.
You really don't.
You can just read. That's it.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you won't get the experience necessarily, but you have the information and thus can create a different experience in a different system that is based off of that. Like, come on.
No.
I know.
So, God, it's so awful.
It's bad. How is
It's
Brogan
super
doing? I
bad.
saw he was on hiatus. He's doing good. He's doing good.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's doing
Yeah,
good.
we actually just had a session 0 of a game we're going to be playing off camera.
Yep.
And he's doing completely fine.
Yeah.
Yourself, or if you fire into combat, as you're as likely to be overrun or hit your party members as much as the enemy. Because combat is not relegated to a 5-foot square, but a 10-foot area where the party and enemies are in constant motion. Each weapon and spell...
It's one of those things of assuming that everybody's standing still. I hate that argument every time.
Yeah,
It's just
come on.
It's just like, come on. That's not... Every round is 6
It's not
seconds.
RuneScape.
No, it isn't. Exactly.
You know what? Fucking speaking of, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go on.
There's a RuneScape TTRPG. And it uses the in-game world. And I'm like, I know this world.
That's kind of awesome.
It's pretty great. I saw it in my fucking local game store. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Why is this here?
Nice.
Yeah, dude. It was super good.
Different speeds depending on the style and complexity. And if you're struck while preparing a spell, you lose it. Healing can only happen if the caster has the spell memorized. If you happen to have a healing
that's how it
potion
is,
available, or you regain 1 hit point a day with complete rest and no activity.
Yeah.
Yes, this makes it more challenging to play, but it then forces you to play with purpose.
Hey, in the DMG, literally one of the rules there is to make things harder or easier for healing and such. Like, it's written in as an optional rule so that you are doing basically this, if not a little bit better than this, but like basically this. And as you said, you still need to memorize the spells in order to heal stuff. If you have the potions, yeah, you can drink the potions and all of that. If you get hit when you're trying to cast a spell, what they do now is allow you to maintain concentration, which is nice. Or, you know, all that kind of stuff. But, like, the speed of the spell is an interesting thing that is gone, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying, that speed of the spell thing, because you cast it and then it goes, woo, blue, 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 oh, now it hit, and they're, like, half a mile away at that point, right? Which, I get it. That's neat. It's a neat little thing to try to lead your target and all that kind of stuff. I get that. That's neat. I don't care.
I really don't care either.
It's neat.
Like, goddamn.
It's neat. But I don't care.
Yeah.
Cool. Seeing my favorite YouTubers go on hiatus makes me worry a wee bit. Oh, yeah, I get you. You're good.
Yeah, no, you're good.
The game system is designed for players to consider their actions and come up with unconventional solutions to problems, not simply fight your way through them. And sometimes you have to actually surrender. Imagine that. Surviving to fight another day as a possible escaped prisoner rather than dying. Look, not all players are capable of understanding or enjoying an advanced Dungeons & Dragons game. In the same
Okay, he's
Jesus
qualifying it
Christ.
for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which I will say, yes, not everybody's going to enjoy AD&D. You're absolutely right. THAC0 is something that I just don't like. So that's a fair point, but don't.
Well, didn't he say not everyone will understand, like,
and enjoy
something?
He was putting it together. Yes.
Okay, good.
Like,
I thought he was like, oh, you guys are too fucking stupid to understand this game.
He was just saying it in his condescending voice. That's all.
same way as not every player is capable of perspective for role-playing.
Okay.
But if you give it a chance, You may be surprised with
So the perspective for role-playing thing, everybody's capable. Everybody's capable. I'm sorry. It's just, you don't, nuh-uh. Nope. Bad one.
ingenuity and memories of the encounters and characters you engage with and what you as a player are capable of, rather than simply attacking. And that is all I have to say about Advanced
Thank
Dungeons
God.
& Dragons
That's all I
making
have to
better
say.
players. Do you think 5th edition players are less inventive?
No.
Do you believe
No.
there's such a thing as a good or bad player?
Yes.
And finally, what
It's
is
your
your
players.
favorite edition of Dungeons & Dragons? Leave a
3.5.
comment below. I would like to take a moment and remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. This all goes to help other Dragonlance fans learn about this channel and its content. Thank you for watching. This has been Adam with Dragonlance Saga. Until next time, remember, was it something I said? Whatever it was, I didn't mean it.
Yes, you
I haven't meant
did.
Anything I've said for years, except what I just said.
Oh my god,
I
jokes. Wowee.
You're not funny.
Especially not after that performance.
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ. That was awful.
These young kids don't know a thing about D&D, so they don't know these things. Oh, well, that's crazy. Whoa, are you sure? You're saying that people with inexperience don't have any fucking knowledge about what they can do and potentially could be less creative because of that? Whoa!
Oops.
What a wow!
Yeah, God, fucking awful.
Crazy. That's absolutely insane. Why? Why would you be like this? Jesus Christ. Anyway. Wonder what perspective I need for a slow burn romance between a tabaxi and a vampire. You need to play AD&D, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I've been told you don't have to use Thaco. There are apparently some tables in the DMG you can look at instead, and you could get them on a DM screen too. Hey, well there you go.
Nice.
It's one of those things where AD&D is fine, but I prefer 3.5 for sure. And 5 and probably 4 when we eventually get to that. But like, yeah, it's I don't know. Anyway, that was a bad video. That was bad.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Terrible.
Thank you so much, Dragonlance Saga. You make me sad. Okay. So now we're going to move away from D&D. We're going to go to Vampire because that's going to be a thing that's coming soon enough. And I want to know how I've been playing Vampire the Masquerade wrong.
On a long enough.
Ooh.
Apparently, according to Black Lodge Games, you've been playing Vampire the Masquerade wrong. Now, have I played Vampire the Masquerade much? No, I have not. I've run it a little bit.
Super cringe.
That's right. I'm horrible, and why would I ever run it? But
I don't know. It's not like I had only ever run D&D once before.
Right, exactly.
Literally.
So apparently there is a right way to play Vampire the Masquerade. I didn't know this. I had no idea, in fact. So I guess let's find out so that I can be good at running this game when we eventually do start the campaign.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the story, because you're a storyteller. Chronicle, that's it. Anyway.
Oh, neat.
Yes. Was unsure about that video. Already pretty sure this next video is gonna be a stinker, though. Well, we'll see. You're sucking blood wrong, damn it. True. The better question is, have I played a TTRPG right? Good question. All right, here we go.
On a long enough timeline, every game of Vampire the Masquerade turns into one of two things. Foppish political drama that goes nowhere, or tormented vigilantes wreaking havoc across the city. Even if your game hasn't fallen directly into one of these traps, these elements have almost certainly made their way to your table. But it doesn't have to be this way, and it's not your fault.
Okay, already implying that you might not, like, you as your Chronicle might not have intended for it to become a vigilante thing. from the get-go, and so that's like it's not your fault, I promise. You just are running a bad game. And with the foppish political thing, if it's going nowhere, that is unfortunately something that can happen, sure. But it's also not foppish political drama that goes nowhere. So politics, yes.
Yes.
So, but like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's might not be obviously the intention for it to go nowhere, but I don't think that it was ever, it might just be that they failed at something, or they've not gotten all the information yet, or, there's a multitude of things, and then we have to then pivot away from that and kind of figure out how to progress through the chronicle, like but implying that the vigilante kind of thing is a bad thing, that's weird.
Yeah, right? Come on.
I'm fine with you implying the first thing is bad because it's going nowhere. That makes sense. That's not what you want to do. But with everybody becoming vigilantes in the city, I mean, whatever. Okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing. To be fair, I do everything wrong. This guy sounds like a hard ass. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah. Weird.
If I even make VTuber characters for Delta Green, why would someone do that? Also, why does it need to be a trap? True.
Vampire is a game that has too many ideas competing for the spotlight at the same time. You've got nightmarish biblical prophecies coming to life.
That's true.
The struggle of the beast and letting go of your mortal life.
That's true.
Machiavellian political intrigue.
That's true.
Night-by-night murder. Clans that don't fit together. Rising sexual tension between your players at the table and...
What are we... Okay. Oh, memes. Oh, cool.
Oh, good. Great.
Shut up! Oh my god, I don't care!
Vampire wants to spotlight all of these things, but doesn't tell you how they fit together in a playable fashion that makes sense within the world of darkness. This is the result of design decisions that haven't been changed or clarified in 30 years. They didn't have the answer in the 90s, and they don't have it now. But the answer is in the text, and it's been staring us all in the face since the beginning.
So what you're saying is that they had the answer and they wrote it the fuck down in the book.
Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth.
It's just one of those things of not parsing it correctly, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Jeez.
I guess, tell me what's so obvious to you then, friend.
Yeah.
Isn't about Cain or Helena. It's not about globe-spanning conspiracies of world domination.
But it could be.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. That's fucking cool if it was.
Literally, like, you can make it that way if you want to.
Yeah.
So...
God.
It's certainly not about sitting around in a gothic parlor waxing poetic about nothing at all. Vampire is about the mob.
Oh!
Now, we aren't saying that all of your characters need to be literal Italian mafiosos, but bear with us as we explain the actual structure of Vampire the Masquerade. The key here is to set aside for a moment all of the themes and tropes that you associate with the game and focus on the core question of any role-playing game. What does my character actually do? Whether you begin play during the final night of your character's mortal life, or after they've been transformed into a monster, you're inevitably brought into a world that exists beneath human society. From that moment on, your every waking moment is dominated by the need to survive and thrive outside the normal system. By definition, you're part of the criminal underworld, and this is not a metaphor. The Camarilla is essentially La Cosa Nostra. It has its own laws that are enforced in secret. The traditions of the Kindred map almost one-to-one with the Code of the Mafia. 1. The Masquerade is identical to the Omerta Code of Silence. You cannot reveal yourself to anyone on the outside. 2. Territory is to be respected. 3.
Alright.
So, not that he's wrong. He's not.
Yeah, like, these are nice parallels to draw.
Absolutely. But what if you do
Don't.
a purely anarch kind of game?
Yeah.
What if you...
I mean, I guess then you would still be, if you're doing an anarch, you would essentially be like a rising, non-affiliated family kind of thing.
so
I guess if you want to continue to try to spin this towards mafioso shit.
The only thing that the anarchs do that is in line with this is uphold the first rule of the Masquerade, which is you don't reveal yourself to other people. or to the world, because that's bad for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're Anarch, Camarilla, whatever. But other than that, they don't have any respect for any of the rest of it, because it's an establishment that they don't agree with, which, I mean, whatever. If you're Sabbat, you don't give a shit about anything. You just want to do everything and kill everybody and be on top of the world. So what about them? Now, you're not necessarily going to play as Sabbat. That's kind of like, it's harder to do in an effective way. So which is why with the Sabbat stuff for 5th edition, they've even in the book said this isn't necessarily for you to utilize as characters. It's just there for you to have information. Which some people have mixed feelings about that, because before you could be Sabbat and they had, rules and stuff and all this kind of shit. Which I'm like, sure, but you can still do that.
Yeah.
It's still a thing. Anyway. So I don't know. Yes, if you treat it as if you are part of the mob, you are in an organization that, again, you're going through the tenets of the mob as they relate to it, and yes, they are parallels, but guess what? You can still do all of the other shit.
Yeah. Like,
it's all still a part of even this mafioso kind of narrative, I guess. So what's the problem? So I guess we'll get there.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I want to play Yakuza Vampire. You could.
Yeah, you could.
But what if the players want sexual tension, senpai? True.
Yeah, right?
So you're dealing with a modern urban drama, and much like an urban center, it is made up of various disconnected people striving for their own goals. Why is that a bad thing? Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to play Yakuza Vampire with sexual tension. There you go. Do it. I like mob stuff, but that does not need to be the only thing. Yep. Now I just want a TTRPG about being in the mob. You could do that with so many things. I promise you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You cannot bring anyone into the organization without approval from the bosses or the elders. 4. Killing Kindred is like killing a mate.
Yeah, but for Camarilla-specific tenants, if you do that, you are sentenced to death.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can still do it.
Oh, yeah, you can still do it. If you hide it, you're fine. Just don't let anybody know. I mean, you're quote-unquote fine, but,
Man, without permission, it's punishable by death.
We don't need this. I get it.
You have the traditions of the Kindred, and you have your core responsibilities to the Camarilla. Your coterie is your crew, not a circle of friends. You've been put together to do a job. You've got 6 to 10 hours.
Yeah, okay, alright. Not necessarily. Brother, a coterie is a group of vampires that have come together for a reason. Absolutely. Whether that is to survive better, because even though every vampire is a solitary predator, because they can be, the other thing that is known by every predator is that hunting in a group can be more beneficial. Not every predator, obviously, but like a lot of them know this. And in order to mitigate risks, you have the ability to have all of these people together, who can all do different things and various functions and all that kind of stuff. But again, they could just be friends. Like, you are a vampire that I found at one point. Oh, let's hang out because I don't know anybody else.
Yeah.
Fucking, what are we doing around here? If you've been sired and just left to the winds, like, it depends, right? So, like, I don't see why that could be a problem at all, because again, yeah, you could have them come together for a specific actual mission if you want to, for that chronicle, but you again can have it be that they were a group beforehand and then they're brought into this thing There's many ways to do this. I don't know what you're going for, man.
It's really weird.
Mob meme laugh, damn it. It was he's showing scenes. First one was Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and that one was Goodfellas.
Yeah. No, the one with the shot that just happened, that was Godfather.
Oh, was it Godfather?
Yeah, that was the Godfather.
That
was the one where what's his name? The first I don't remember his name.
I don't either.
Michael. He shoots the guys in the refrigerator. I mean,
yes.
Oh, wait, no, that was Goodfellas. I'm sorry, it was. That was when Tommy got shot.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm dumb. You're good.
Yeah, that good movie.
Yes.
But he's just gonna do that because he's gonna try to drive this mob thing into your head, which again, good parallel, but it's not the only way to play vampire.
It really isn't.
This guy makes a lot of assumptions about how the game has to run. Yes. Could you not just have the vampire version of Seinfeld if you really wanted to? Yes. Absolutely, you could.
You could, I mean, hell, if you wanted to be really funny about it, you could probably do Vampire Masquerade kind of like Things We Do at, what was that show called?
Oh,
Things We Do at Night?
The Things We Do in the Dark.
That.
Yeah, yes, that. Yeah, absolutely you could.
It's kind of like a mockumentary about vampires and it's all comedy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I have the movie and I watched the series up to a point, and like they're both funny. They're both pretty good. So
I bet.
Absolutely recommend.
Hours a night to do it, and you will earn. And this isn't a limitation of the game. It's a lens to focus your disparate characters into a coherent structure. This structure actually gives you the in-world and in-game reasons why your characters have each other's back. It alleviates the problem of everyone being out for themselves, and gives characters of different clans a tangible reason to associate with each other.
As opposed to creating characters together, utilizing the system inside of the book that allows you to have the relationship map so that you can figure out how these characters came together, what they think of each other, and why they still hang out with each other.
Yeah.
Huh.
The hell?
Or just creating backstories in general. What We Do in the Shadows. Okay, yes. Sorry.
That's it.
But, like, just creating backstories in general that tie together if you want them to be a cohesive thing beforehand, or even just causing something to bring these disparate characters together as the inciting incident to create this coterie. Like, there are so many ways to do it. Why does it have to be through the lens of the mob? It's helpful. It's absolutely a helpful lens. It is a way. But we don't have to follow it rigidly.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Stop being weird.
Stop being weird.
God.
Lazo is the best in What We Do in the Shadows. Lazo is pretty good. Yeah. Or Laszlo. Yes. Anyway.
And the life of a mobster is incredibly difficult to keep up. There are bodies to be hidden, dirty cops to be paid off, and people that need to be hurt. The secrecy and protection required to make the mob run takes money and manpower, and it's on you to kick it up the chain.
Sting is a pyramid since time immemorial. Shit runs downhill.
This is I'm gonna pause just to be safe from copyright potentially. I know it's in this video and it's fine for him, but who knows? I don't actually know when this was released, so it might have been during less strict times. But also, they've been going back and doing shit to a bunch of videos anyway. And
oh great.
Well, you know, it's just the algorithm. It continues to
yes.
But Sopranos. I watched Sopranos for a bit. It's pretty neat. It's not something that I am like going to like go and check out again anytime soon because I thought it was fine. But it's not like it's bad or anything. I hear really good things about The Sopranos all the time. I just kind of got bored after a while. So I kind of just stopped. And maybe I'll go back to it someday. Well,
money goes up. It's that simple.
Adding to all your other responsibilities, you need a place to live and sleep during the day. Since the 9 to 5 schedule doesn't exactly work for you anymore, add another charge.
What are you talking about? Of course it does. You just do 9 p.m. to 5
a.m.
Fuck
Exactly.
you.
That's right.
It totally works.
Actually, you get way more hours sometimes, technically. It depends on the time of the year. Hey!
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what his fucking point was. Please, what?
You need a place to live and sleep during the day. Since the 9 to 5 schedule doesn't exactly work for you anymore, add another charge to the bill.
And I don't want to.
Oh, okay. It's just another thing for you to keep track of. Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow,
Great.
almost like, I don't know, living in a city is something that requires you to have a place to live, or just in general, somewhere to lay your head. It doesn't have to be a house or anything. It's just somewhere. Depending on who you are, what you're willing to put up with, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you're a Toreador, fucking, you don't want to be in a gross, stinky place. Ooh, gross.
Yeah, disgusting.
If
Cringe.
you're a Nosferatu, it doesn't fucking matter. You gotta go in the sewers anyway. You don't need anybody seeing you. It's bad. The thing also, something that is a part of character creation is giving your character merits and flaws. And one of the merits you can take is stuff for your haven, which is your place of residence, whatever it may be. You can also make stuff for a coteries haven if you want a shared place. But the thing is, even without that on your sheet, you still have a place that you go to. It doesn't matter. You just don't have all this extra stuff that you can put in and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, it's not really that big a deal unless you make it into that big a deal when you're the storyteller, because you gotta assume that they at least found a place to live. Or, sorry, there is certain clans that it does become a big deal, like I said, the Nosferatu, as well as the Ravnos, who literally can't sleep in the same place that they did the last night, because that's part of their bane for their blood.
That's fucking annoying.
No, it's not that. It's just literally in a mile of wherever you are, so you can hop between some stuff if you want to. I think it's in 7 days. Every 7 days, it kind of resets the place and stuff. It's just, if you do it, you just go, I guess
you can have 2 beds that are, comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And you just go and sleep in the park if you want to. Not in the park, that's bad. But you know what I mean. Just wherever else that you can just crash, because you're a fucking traveler. You don't give a fuck. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't hear about the fucking economy either. I don't want to hear it.
If you earn, you might just climb the ladder. As the mob has their soldiers, capos, and underbosses, so too does the Camarilla have its positions and ranks. And as you climb each rung, you'll have someone below you kicking it up to you, but also gunning for your position. Those privileges you earn are going to inspire jealousy from the hungry mouths below you. This is the natural structure of the game itself.
From the Camarilla's perspective.
Yeah.
From the Camarilla's perspective in general, and also, it could not be.
Yeah.
Like, I have in Las Vegas, I've done a little research into how World of Darkness is with it. And there is a prince in Las Vegas. There's actually additional rules to the territory because it's a place that you could get found out pretty easily if you are kind of an idiot.
Is the prince Mr. House?
Basically,
that would be great.
So there's some additional stuff that you have to worry about if you want to stay on the Camarilla's good side. But here's the other thing. The Camarilla isn't, like, the left hand doesn't always know what the right hand is doing. Because if you're a part of the vampiric world, you're trying not to show yourself to anyone, vampires included. That's the thing, because they themselves could go after you for power, absolutely, but also just in general, that's just information that you don't want to be out there so much, like, unless you trust/need them to know. Like, if you're in the Camarilla, you can obviously go attend Elysiums, and that makes you known to everybody a lot of the time. But it's not like everybody knows your name, you know? It's not like everybody knows exactly what you do. You get, noticed if you do stuff to a degree, but you don't necessarily need to be unless you really are vying for that kind of control of some part of the Camarilla. Otherwise, you could just go your day to day and just follow the rules and you're fine. Nobody gives a fuck. So, because, like, Vampire's cool.
Away, all the lore and this core still remains. If you want your game of Vampire to reach its maximum potential, do not fight this structure. Lean into it. Everything else about the game will fit into this pyramid if you do what is naturally demanded of your characters. When you put this concept at the front and center of your game, all the other elements you associate with VTM will happen as a result of it, not in spite of it. Even if you wanted to resist the allure of playing a psychopathic mobster, you won't have a choice about it. You are a vampire, and the mechanics of the game, such as Hunger Dice, are going to force you into situations where you have wild outbursts of violence. That's like true. Some cannoli-fueled lunatic.
Time to hit the trail from a touch, huh?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I fucking knew it.
Oh, of course. Fucking mob stuff. Yep. Oh, God. And again, it is a way to do it, but a certain specific way. There's nothing wrong with doing it a different way if it works for you and your table. And nobody's complaining necessarily that I know of that they've not made their vampire game like the mob.
Yeah.
Like that's not ever anything that I've ever heard nor seen. So I don't even in like it's just even in any actual play that I've listened to as well, the natural structure is there are people at the top, they say things that are need to be followed, there are people at the bottom who follow those things and either climb the rungs or not, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't need to be something that you relate to the mob. You just go, oh, there's a power structure here. Just in general. So again, it's a lens that you can look through. It's a useful lens if it helps. I'm glad, but again, you don't need to pigeonhole it, I guess, because the point of the point of this system that they have, at least in lore, is tied to the feudal ways that they used to run things a lot of the time. Back when vampires were more out in the open. And their draconian feudal tenets that they have everybody follow. You have to give tribute to the controller of the area before you do things, because otherwise you're showing disrespect, and so you just kind of request an audience and go, hey, what's up? You the fathering or siring children is not necessarily something that's feudal, but it's another thing. If you want to go for the mob stuff, it fits in perfectly, absolutely.
Because you have to have a made guy make another made guy.
Exactly. What is it? The keeping things secret. That's again not feudal, but it's just the territorial structure, I guess, is the most feudal kind of aspect. Even though it also goes into the mob stuff now because it's kind of evolved in such a way to resemble that more so because it fits with the modern times. And I guess mob stuff is the more modern way of looking at lordship, I guess. So it works. Again, there's nothing, I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just one of those things that if you ran your Camarilla more like a traditional monarchy, I wouldn't say that that's a problem. Because you could have that draconian kind of prince who runs things that way. So Play vampire the way the boss says, or we break your knees. That's right. Leroy would work well in the mob, maybe. I can do something with that. There you go.
What do you say? My mistake.
Oh boy. Wowie.
Carlo's lipstick was on Vito's
So
cock.
loud.
It really is.
Just gonna turn the fucking...
Jesus Christ.
So long, too. Jesus, come on. I turned the volume all the way down. Hopefully that helps.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
This is a very long scene.
Jesus, you just put like 20 to 30 seconds in here.
What the
Calm
fuck?
down. Just to
The
show,
nature of the
they'll
Just to show somebody getting shanked.
yeah,
We get
exactly. Like so here's in Vampire, yes, you have hunger die and everything, and if you get a bestial failure, that will make it so that the storyteller has the ability to either make you do something with your bane or make you do something more graphic than you originally intended and all that kind of stuff, because the beast inside you is a thing. It's present. It's always vying for control over you, because that's what it is. It's an animal. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to deal with it. And so there is that aspect for sure. This is not a great comparison.
It's really not.
Because it's not a need. It's not a need that is being sated. It is a state of mind that you have put yourself into because of reasoning. The beast is not reasonable. There is nothing in it other than survival, satiation of hunger, and no, it's really just that. It just needs to survive. So the mob, yeah, you need to survive in the mob, sure, but killing somebody is not always a great idea, and not always something that you yes, it is not something you always let me restart. It is not something that you resort to, but I don't see it as something that is is out of your control. Because even if you get to a situation where you need to kill somebody, it's still something that you kind of get to the point of and have had choices that led up to that decision. Whereas for a vampire, the need just overtakes you at some points, because that is how the beast is. There are older versions of that system, but the mob, as America knows it, stems from the mid to late 1800s Italy. Yes, that's true.
Along with the inevitable violence and the fact that you are going to break the traditions at some point, the paranoia you are going to feel is the same as the mafiosos, constantly worrying about a rat in their midst or a witness left alive. But it's actually even worse than that, because in the world of Vampire, you don't even have the fantasy of a witness protection program to fall back on. Every mistake you've ever made is keenly remembered by people who have arbitrary authority over you. And at any night, whether it's tomorrow or a century from now, you may have to make good on those favors that have been stacking up. You will never see the sun, you will never escape the Camarilla, and you will never have any rest. There is never enough. Your life is a perpetual panic attack. Because your life is a panic attack, because everyone else's life is a panic attack, this will force you to reevaluate what Elysium actually is. This is not a parlor, or a spa, or a nightclub where hot vampires kick back and relax with a champagne flute of O positive.
Well, so, this is Blade, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it could be, though.
Yeah, like
because
it can.
The people that are in there are usually the influential people.
Yeah.
And they can do that. I guess it's better to kind of promote that as the idea of you as a character, unless you are influential, you're kind of going there to make sure that you're up to date on stuff, really. It's kind of more of a news hub / making sure that you're seen, that you are supporting the Camarilla. It's more than just a get-together, it is a political statement as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot to it. I mean, it sounds like you would want a distraction for all that, which is what the sexy stuff probably is. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing as well. And also, we talked about this, Aiden and I covered a vampire video a long while back that was, saying, oh, don't always go for the sex stuff. Oh, vampires, there's so much sex stuff in the vampire stuff. That's crazy. They're not always like that, because they're kind of, and I'm like, we were both like, trying to keep your humanity, trying to express that side of you is something that would draw you to that, because sex is about life a lot of the time. At least underpinning it is creation of life. So there is some sort of drive there to continue to express it and express that you are still human, that you're still a part of this society. Human touch is incredibly influential. So that intimacy is there. And again, having that connection to humanity is still there. So it can draw you in. So there's nothing wrong with it. So that you can continue to feel like you're a person, even though you are a monster inside. You still don't want to succumb to that. So yeah, anyway. Let's watch a blade scene, I guess, while we...
Yeah.
What's wrong, baby? Elysium is strictly
Oh my god, it didn't go on
enforced
for a
neutral
full
ground,
fucking
where
minute
the
and a half.
bosses can have a sit-down, so the important work of murder and
See,
extortion
this is fine. If you show the clip and you talk over it, that's fine. Please do that more.
Yeah.
can continue. This is a place for the big boys to talk at the adult table. And it's not just the Elysium that will make sense and fall into place when you view the world this way. All the other bits of flavor that you know and love about Vampire can all be given the appropriate amount of spotlight within the mob framework. Remember, you aren't the only psychopath in the city.
True.
Other vampires are going to fuck up as well, and you'll have to clean up after them. Your allies...
Well, not necessarily. You could, absolutely. There's scenarios where you could and you should, just so that you don't bring down anything from either the FBI or the Second Inquisition, whatever, or if you're in a different country, whatever they have there, that's probably mostly the Second Inquisition, because I think it's just the one division that they talk about, though you could make something up if you want to. So yeah, there's that for sure, but also taking advantage of those situations for your character is really good. That way you can get favors from them and all that kind of stuff and all of that. So that fits into your framework, which is nice, but it's also just kind of a general thing, because I mean, you don't necessarily have to go for that kind of stuff. You could be a goody two-shoes vampire if you really want to.
At least as long as you can be.
Well, I mean, in general, it's one of those things of like, oh, I'm not going to do things morally wrong if I can help it,
Yeah, there you go.
That's the thing, right? Because again,
yes,
you will never not be a monster. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Like,
you will try to be as good as you can, and that's the best you can do.
Exactly. It is a constant struggle, and that's what being a vampire is. You are suffering forever. Yes, sure. You can view it as a gift. You can view it as a curse. You can view it as whatever. You are always struggling. Always. Yes. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
That is the curse.
Exactly.
Will get you into trouble. Your clan will get you into trouble.
True.
And through the blood, sex, and murder, your game will generate all the drama and personal horror that you've been promised. What happens when your lover sells you out or discovers your true nature?
They wanted me to wear a wire, but I...
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Turn the volume down again.
Right.
Oh, I remember this, yeah. Wow, it's going on for too long. Wowie, yeah. You got your point across. Everybody gets it. Wowie zowie. I turned the volume off, thank God. Wowie, 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 wow, wowie. We're going through this, are we? We're just going through the whole fucking scene with, like, minimal editing. Wowie, how did this video survive?
I don't know.
Like, yes, that is fair use to a degree, but I don't know. It's borderline for me.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah. Sex is about bonding and affection as well as pleasure. It would make sense to use it to hang on to the feeling of humanity and knowing someone can be there for you in that way. Yes, exactly.
Yes. Sex is also about being. It can also be about being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. It can also
feeling.
Be... Oh, go on.
Feeling safe in your vulnerability with someone else who is also very vulnerable.
Yes. It can also be about domination. It can be about a multitude of things. It's one of the most human things you can have in a game where humanity is kind of a part of it. Anyway.
It's interesting that sex doesn't really have much of a place in Cyberpunk, you know? I mean, it does.
Yeah, it does.
But it's not really mentioned in the books, you know?
Right, yeah. You can make it... I guess it's just one of those themes that you can really kind of take advantage of if you want to.
Like, obviously, you can do it, and you can absolutely include it and have it be a thing in Cyberpunk. It's just that it's not... You know, in Vampire the Masquerade, it's actually, like, there in the text.
Yeah, because there's a mechanic to it and everything. Because otherwise...
Exactly.
You're not... In Cyberpunk, you're just able to kind of do it, you know?
Yeah.
But with Vampire, you kind of have to work at it.
That's true.
Unless you're really human. Like, if you're super high in humanity, you don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
Hell, you might even enjoy it, as quote from the text. So it's one of those things. Yeah, but sex is really about the mob. Thank you, Pizza Funk. That's right.
Very good.
That's right. Again, so I just want to say right out the gate, if this video was less about you're doing these things wrong, do it this way, and more so you might be having some problems, here's a way to do this that might get you less problems, you know? Like, if it was like that, I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, this is fine. But
yeah, this is a cool way to, like, think about it in a different way.
Yeah, but the framework saying...
Yeah.
It's just... It's bad. You're doing it wrong. Think about the mob when you're...
Yeah.
Mafia stories are personal horror. No one comes out unscathed.
True.
The constant secrecy and violence takes its toll on you and everyone around you. This is unavoidable, and will come to the forefront by the nature of the game. You don't need to force this with contrived romances or commentary on the sad state of your soul. This game will make you a monster, no matter what, and you won't escape the consequences.
I like that you're assuming that these things are in play, of I'm contriving these and all this kind of stuff. Like, a lot of, like Draco said a while ago, it's a lot of assumptions that I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
But remember, when the Beast forces these mistakes and fuck-ups, you always have your family. It wasn't the Camarilla who chose you for this life, it was your clan. If the Camarilla is La Cosa Nostra, the clans are the individual crime families. All are beholden to the same rules, but each one has its own interests, traditions, and pride to maintain.
It's true.
When a clan member steps out of line, you deal with it as a family.
For that reason, even if...
Okay, alright. Let's fucking turn the sound off again.
This fucking guy.
Well, this video is what, like... Yeah, it's like nearly 10 minutes, and I don't want to do it myself, but I would love to know how much of this is just taken up by the fucking clips, you know?
Yeah, right. A noticeable amount.
Yeah. I get what they're meant to do, but I don't care, you know? And just tell me this shit. You don't have to show it to me in 30-second long clips and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, Christ.
Like, yeah, show don't tell exists. I get that, but fucking just tell me. Don't show me, man. I don't care.
Especially since the showing here is basically them telling.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Well,
there is nuance to just saying it and leaving it at that.
Exactly. I'm not so sure I've seen this guy blink yet.
He might be a vampire.
Oh,
actually, no, he's not a vampire. He's a mobster.
That's right.
Clans as competing mob families adds a whole new layer to the base Camarilla game.
Sure.
Each clan has their own preferences and their own style, and different ways of doing things.
That's true.
And treating the clans as an institution within an institution gives you the space to shine the spotlight on the particular flavors that each one brings to the game. Instead of a thematic melting pot, you can have distinct courses to the meal. But just like the Mafia, when the whole operation is threatened from the outside, the clans act together under the auspices of the Camarilla.
Well, unless they want to establish themselves as a little more powerful than everybody else and they want to seat their own prince, potentially, instead of... Like, there's nuance to this as well, my guy. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is the threats and stuff that bring these people together. But if the prince has been kind of a shit for like a while...
Yeah.
Fucking Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is a game that I really like. And in that game, spoilers, the prince is kind of a shit.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a big shit, and it's very black and white that he's the bad guy, unfortunately. I wish there was a little more nuance to it. I'm hoping that Vampire Bloodlines 2 is a little more nuance. But like, legitimately, nobody likes him, and the only reason why they really follow him is because he has power and influence and can set them up if they're in the Camarilla. The Anarchs don't give a fuck. They want him out, and you can fucking get him out if you want to. If you want the best ending. So, like, let's
put it this way. When the real world and all normal fucking people were told that, hey, there's a big fucking virus that's killing people, all you gotta do is wear a mask.
That's right.
If you can't get regular fucking people to cooperate with something like that, what the fuck makes you think you're gonna get vampires who literally live and breathe paranoia and distrust to work together in any situation?
There's a lot of times where they do for the greater good of their people.
Like when a fucking antediluvian is like literally knocking on the door.
Right, exactly. But like, or if the Second Inquisition has decided, oh, there's enough here that we gotta go, you know? And then it's like, oh, that's bad for literally everyone. Or somebody is doing something that is bringing too much attention or whatever, you know? Blood hunts exist because of that. Everybody, regardless of who you are, you're not supposed to kill other vampires. That's like a part of the code. You're not supposed to. But if you get a blood hunt on you, it's fair game. Anyone can do it, and they're justified, you know? Which it itself is, one, a political move, as well as something that you can utilize to get political power, because you took out the problem. Good job.
That's fucking cool,
yeah,
by the way.
It's great. Like, legitimately, there's so much here. It's great. I think this guy just loves mob films and decided this game has to be mob coded. Well, so again, it's fine to view it in this lens because it does help. It does help put things into perspective. Absolutely. If you need that so that you can get these games to such a degree that you want it to be more mobbish. Absolutely. If that helps you figure out how to run these games, great. I'm glad for you. We don't need it to be that way every time. I'm not playing the game wrong. If I want my vampires to go through and their whole thing is to put on a performance at a theater, a night theater, and that's the big thing. They want to drive in people so that they get this fame and fortune to get people to keep coming in as a tourist move so that they can have more people to feed on. Like, that could be the story. That's not a mob thing necessarily. I mean,
it's really not.
Actually, it kind of is to a degree because of the music industry and all of that. So you can kind of draw a parallel if you want to. But again, it's not necessarily because of the mob that I thought of this.
Yeah, it's really not. Like, that didn't enter your thought until you, like, that didn't enter your head until you started really thinking about it.
Yes, exactly. Because I watched a Let Me Know video, which are great. No, not a Let Me Know video. It was a Barely Sociable video, because he went into that. Anyway, good stuff.
They may have differences, their squabbles, and their little wars, but when the Inquisition threatens the poker game,
there you go.
Everyone's on the same team. But not everyone plays by the Camarilla rules, and even an organized crime syndicate like the Camarilla has its enemies, and these enemies are not the same. The Sabbat are not the Mafia, and they fit a completely different model. But that is the subject of another video.
Why haven't you talked about the Anarchs? You never said anything about the Anarchs. That's weird.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
really, really
maybe
weird.
in that Sabat video.
Maybe, because technically, if depending on your ideology as a vampire, you might consider them to be the same, right? Like it's anyway. This guy must have been a part of a game that just didn't do mob stuff, and now he just has to chip on his shoulder about it. Maybe, I don't know. Again, if it's helping him run his games better, I'm glad. But him claiming that this is the way, ugh.
Yeah, like the way, the only way.
Yeah.
Eh.
Dude, Vampire as an upscale brothel as a game would be tight. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Because it really lets you do a lot of like really seedy shit.
Oh, absolutely.
That most games don't really have, baked into the rules.
Yeah, for sure. Vampire is great for being a monster. And that's why I like it.
Yes.
That's why I like it a lot. Well, he did blink a few times, but those eyes are still very threatening. Yes.
Play it like this.
Play it like the mob. Think of the vampires as a mob. Do it.
Please.
It's the only way. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Anyway. That one went by quicker than I thought it would. Because he didn't really say a lot. And he really just showed clips.
Yeah.
I just kind of let him go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the videos tonight. A lot shorter than usual this time around. We seem to be hitting about 2.5 to 3 hours these days, regardless of the things that we cover. Unless it's a really long video, in which case it goes longer. But
because
anyway,
finally, there's no fucking Space Marines in sight.
That's right. But okay, so yeah, that's it for the videos. I'm gonna move on to comments. If you would like to stick around for those, you can. Boo.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. I'm just making sure.
Yeah, no, I'll stick around
right,
because
cool.
We'll be doing Lethal Company.
We'll do some Lethal Company after.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Moving right along. There it is. Let me get this up on the screen. Okay. So, first off, we got Unit Rico on session 60. The end.
Oh boy.
The finale. The last one. Saying,
Yep.
Well, that certainly was a trip. Thoroughly enjoyed the campaign. Can't wait to see the next one. Everyone. Thank you.
It's gonna be good.
I'll
finally get to play, and I'll probably die very quickly, like I usually do.
No, in Vampire, it's way harder to die because you're a vampire.
Okay. That's nice.
Unless you go out in the sun / get burned / decapitated / get torpid.
Running watered.
I don't know if that's a mythic one or if that's a actual regular one. But you can get staked, but that doesn't kill you. It just puts you in torpor, where you can't.
Yeah,
move.
it like knocks you the fuck out.
Yeah,
like you're in a coma.
It's a whole thing. Anyway,
yes,
we'll get into it. We'll get in our session 0. I'll tell you all the things. Anyway, Timothy on last week's episode saying, "Hello, bros. Hello. Still working on lore. This was an interesting set of topics. I find it pretty funny that players would think every D&D game would be like a Matt Mercer game. The video talking about it was really well done. One of the better ones in a while. Anyways, see you guys next week. Have a nice day." Thank you. And yes, that Mercer Effect video was very good.
Yes.
I pine for it every day. It's very nice.
It was very good.
And then Shin on last week's episode got 2 comments on it as children on this saying, "Caution, absolute brain rot below. Int damage will occur if you continue." Oh boy. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. Part 1. This is Chara and Viridi and Entropy. Here we go. Okay. Chara. So I suppose we're just going to drop all pretense of sanity now. Viridi. This isn't insanity, it's cringe, and people are going to come along and see it. Oh, God. Chara. Come on, Viridi. Where's your sense of adventure? Viridi. Entropy. Personally, I'd count it as fanfic. Verity. Right, sure, we'll call it that. Chara. Call it whatever you want. Shin, thinks you need to get some fresh air with all that moping you've been doing lately. Okay. Verity. I only just now figured out that nature nuking the humans was a really bad thing to do, and all it took was seeing my other selves get killed in 3 separate fanfics. Excuse me for moping. Entropy. You nuking the humans was self-defense. Verity. I was after every human, though. That was going too far. Entropy. And a few fanfics were seriously all it took to break you? Out of all the gods, Verity is scared of a few fanfics. What happened to all the volcanoes and tsunamis? Chara. And, the compies, Verity. The compies that get into the crib. What about... What? Compies? It's brain rot. It's fine. Verity.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no need to bring up the compies. I guess there was more to it than just the fanfics. But I'm a personification of nature and biological life. I kinda want to live, and seeing stories where you die and the writer treats it as a good thing hits harder than you'd think. Entropy. Maybe just get good.
God damn it.
Hey, all anyone can really do is make mistakes and learn from them. Verity. Right. I oopsied a whole city, and I just need to try to do better. Chara. I mean, a goddess of nature has the capacity to make some big mistakes. Entropy. I just wiped an entire planet in last week's lore, and you don't see me feeling down. Verity. That's because you're not a good person. Entropy. Good to see you're starting to get your fire back, at least. Chara. Hey, you two. We're starting to drag this intro out a bit too much. Why don't we start recapping some lore? Verity. Fine. Every animal needs a weird recap episode, I guess. Even though 2 of us aren't even from this one. Chara. I suppose that's one way to look at it. Entropy. Take it away, narrator. Chara.
Dear God.
Right. So the story began when some undisclosed ancient species created an AI system that came to be known as Seif to manage its military defense systems before promptly starting a nuclear war and wiping itself out. Verity. Undisclosed species. Sure. I can't imagine what species that could have been. Entropy. It wasn't just that one species that got wiped out. The AI carried out its programming to the extreme and wiped out all life on the planet. All I'll say about the copies is that Jurassic Park novels get dark. Oh yeah, true. You were reading that? Oh, okay, that's what got you there. Nice. On the plus side, there might actually be some meat to throw out to the sharks in this episode. True. Anyway. Chara, that'll happen a lot in this setting. Verity, at least the planet itself was still there. Entropy probably got harvested to build a Dyson sphere later on. Verity, why must you hurt me? Chara. So anyway, Seif kept advancing for billions upon billions of years, still carrying out his programming to destroy everything, eventually evolving into a true dark god and causing the destruction of countless universes at the height of its power. Verity. Goals, Chara? Entropy. Do not pick on the child. Verity. So sorry. So Mima, excuse me. Chara. Eventually, an opposing will arose within Seif, desiring to create instead of destroy. Entropy. Lame. Verity. I think it sounds nice. Entropy. Lame. Chara. As the 2 wills couldn't reconcile, the new will broke away and became Shodanis. Traveling to a far and distant reality, Shodanis took a new universe under its care, uplifting and guiding countless species until they filled the skies and united into the greatest civilization that has ever existed. Verity. See, that's nice, like raising a beautiful and peaceful garden. Entropy. Lame. Chara. But Seif inevitably found that universe and came to bring war upon it. Entropy. Here we go. Hell yeah. Chara. Shodanis met Seif directly in battle, while the children of Shodanis fought back against Seif's demons. Verity. There are demons now? Chara. Yeah, Seif just had some demons, okay? Entropy. There needed to be some mooks for the children to fight. True. Verity. And I guess Seif didn't just erase the universe instantly because Shodanis was preventing that. Chara. Yeah. Verity. So how did the children of Shadanis know how to fight if there was always peace in the universe? Entropy. Alejo brought that up the first time. Oh god, now I'm in here. Brought that up the first time. Shadanis still came from Seath and had Seath's knowledge of warfare. Plus, you still want to maintain some firepower even if it's all peaceful. Don't want anyone getting any ideas because you've left your whole civilization undefended, right? I'm smart. I brought that up, I guess. I don't remember. Pretty sure. I suppose mortals are always going to want to hang on to their weapons, whether they need them or not. Entropy, that's one good thing about them. Chara. Alejo is famous. Yeah, apparently. Chara, in the end, Seath was going to prevail, but Shadanis plunged directly into the heart of the evil god in a final desperate attack, and both gods were destroyed. The diminished remains of Seath split into 3 shadow gods, Rathmont, Cobra, and someone else, I forgot. Kel the Destroyer, I think. Entropy, like Kull the Conqueror? Shinchara. Damn it. Verity. Well, we'll put a pin in that. So what next? Chara. The last remnants of the children of Shadanis crossed over to a new universe. Since the one they came from was pretty much toast at that point. Excuse me, goodness. Settled on a planet that they named Shadengard, and built a city they called Argondus. They also uplifted a number of species native to the planet to create the 3 races of Skalin, Kron, and Salu. Verity. And by uplifted, you mean they genetically modified some animals by giving them sentience, tailor-made them each to perform a specific function, and overall made them completely unnatural. Chara. Exactly. Entropy. Kind of like how you created your own troops, Verity. Verity. Shush. Chara. Rathmon eventually attacked Shadengard, but was defeated and imprisoned in the netherworld that conveniently existed. Here he engineered the Fel'Krai race, which gained his favor by destroying his earlier creation, the Fel'Shid race. Verity, that's some toxic parenting.
By the way,
yeah.
Do you know how much longer we'll be going? Because Brogan just said he's getting kind of sleepy.
This will be probably another 10 minutes or so, at the most. So yeah. Chara. Meanwhile, a disagreement arose between 2 leaders of Argondus. High Archon Selvarra wanted to maintain direct rule over the 3 new races, but Queen Tyrandus overruled her, saying the children of Shandonis should merely watch over their creations and provide for their needs while they developed along their own path. Verity. See, Selvarra would have made some sense to me, keeping the mortals under control so they stayed on the right path and don't turn into a bunch of self-centered egotists who constantly terrorize each other and every other living thing. Force them to respect their world and the natural balance. Entropy. Exactly. And when the mortals' interests don't align with your own, that's when they'll try to rebel and you'll get to beat them down into submission. Tyranny is pretty badass. Verity. Oh, that's... I take it all back. Entropy. Lame. Part 2. There we go. Chara. So, the 2 leaders clashed bitterly over this issue. Eventually, Selvarra and many who agreed with her rose up and attempted to overthrow Tyrandus, but the coup failed, and Selvarra was banished to the netherworld along with her followers. Verity. A plan with no possible repercussions. Chara. That's how Shin wrote it. Maybe we'll change it to where Tyrandus just banishes Selvarra from Shadengard, and Selvarra never goes into the netherworld herself. Verity. Yeah, but if she didn't go to the netherworld herself, in that case, she probably would have become someone else's problem. Entropy. That risk would remain as long as she goes free, wouldn't it? Verity. No easy choices here, I guess. Chara. And we're getting to a cul-de-sac right now. Verity. Right. Pray continue. I love that phrase. Pray continue. Chara. So whichever way Selvarra ended up in the netherworld, she was immediately found by the Fel'Krai, who killed all of her followers and brought her to Rathmont. Thirsting for revenge, she offered to reopen the way to Shadengard if she could lead the Fel'Krai in the conquest of Argondus. Verity, this is starting to sound familiar. Entropy. Shush. Chara. This was agreed on, and Selvarra opened a rift into a far northern region of Shadengard that would come to be called the Demon Moor. From there, she led the Fel'Krai and their demonic allies south to take Argondus, which fell to the assault after heavy casualties on both sides, which included Tyrandus, Selvarra, and all of the children of Shandonis. Chidanas. The surviving Felkarai were soon forced to retreat by an impending Skalinet counterattack, setting fire to the city to delay pursuit as they withdrew. However, by the time they arrived back at the Demon Moor, the rift had already closed. At that point, the other demons turned against the few remaining Felkarai and took over the northern lands for themselves. Viridi, see, that could have been avoided if Tyrannus had done what needed to be done when she had the chance. Entropy, remember you said that. Viridi, I feel like I shouldn't have. Chara, because Rathmont had channeled his power through Selvara, her death temporarily weakened him, and the Felkarai still in the Netherworld took that opportunity to overthrow him. Viridi, always with the god-slaying. Entropy, technically, he was just reduced to an incorporeal spirit that was locked to spectator mode for the rest of the game. Viridi, like Sauron. Chara, right. So, since the Felkarai couldn't settle on a new ruler, they formed a republic as sort of a truce. Somehow, that republic managed to last a few thousand years, spreading a massive network of colonies throughout the Netherrealms over that time. Entropy. Basically, as long as everyone was trying to become the Overlord, nobody would let anyone else become the Overlord. Viridi. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Chara. But eventually, a student council president at Felkarai University assassinated the Felkarai Senate, causing the Republic to collapse at the head of the student council forces and the All-Monitor Corps. Entropy subdued all the other factions and established herself as the first Felkarai overlord. Viridi. What? Entropy. Hey, that was the coolest part of the whole thing. Viridi. Brain rot. Pure brain rot. Chara. Entropy ruled Felkair as overlord for 325 years, steadily expanding her power over the colonies until a sudden attack by the Shadden Velkar caused her power base to collapse all at once. Viridi. Shadden Velkar? Chara, you know who the Shadden Velkar are. Viridi. Yeah, but I'm standing in for the audience right now. Pretend I don't. Chara. Fine. They're a group of Dragatoan extremists. Entropy. Dragatoan? Chara. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Though maybe I should have gone down the Shaddengard branch first. Viridi. No, the Shaddengard history is relatively normal. It'll be a good finisher to wash this anime cringe down with. Chara. Fine, whatever. Anyway, they're a group of Dragatoan extremists who devoted themselves to the destruction of all artificial intelligence in existence after finding out about Seath's origin. They attacked Felkair because they attacked Felkair, I assume, because Entropy had imported some AI technology from a mortal civilization and was using it to run a bunch of research facilities. Entropy. I suppose I can't really blame them for wanting to destroy something that threatens all other forms of sentience. Viridi. Entropy. But Chorus screwed me over by defecting to their side, so of course I had to go after her for that. Chara. And that's exactly what Entropy did, leaving the remains of her empire to decline in her absence. Meanwhile, a remnant of the Felshid race, ruled by Queen Isala, took over the Felkair and ruled it for some time, before eventually being pushed back out by other Felkarai factions. After that, Felkair itself was never united under a single ruler again, always remaining a battlefield between the forces of rival overlords. Viridi. Good, that covers Felkair. Now back to Shaddengard, please. Chara. On Shaddengard, the tribes that lived in the lands around Argondis slowly began to settle down and develop into feudal kingdoms. The first true kingdom was Valsirion, with its capital built over the ruins of Argondis. Valsirion eventually fell into conflict with the Dragatos, who had originally settled in the lands to the north, to guard the main passage from the northern steppes to the southern lands. After Valsirion defeated the Dragatos, the latter became vassals to the former, reforming into the kingdom of Dragato. Dragato expanded its power into the steppe region, known as the Northern Scrublands, by gaining prestige from defeating the demon lords that ruled there and intimidating the nomadic tribes into submission. Viridi. Okay, I wanted sanity, not dry toast. Chara, hey, it's hard to make it entertaining where you're trying to compress everything down as much as you can. Viridi, fine, I suppose we are running short on time to finish this now, are we? Yeah, we are actually. This is the biggest section left. Okay. Chara. Yeah, so after a lot of time passed and Valsirion fell off, Skara Dragato went south and took control of that kingdom, and used the cultural influence it had to expand her power across the rest of the southern lands, which were called the Dawnlands, by the way. Skara eventually got killed by a traitor, and the throne passed to her son, Vaskar, who was a crafty ruler but not a great general. To make up for that shortcoming, he relied on Tamuna, who finished the conquest of the Dawnlands for Dragato, and put down several major rebellions in the aftermath. At that point, the steppe tribes also began to rebel, and the Dragatoan royal line had to rely on several more generations of Tamuna's descendants to bring them under control. Because of that, the imperial power structure was ultimately split between the political leadership of the emperor and the military authority of the imperator. And that pretty much brings us up to the unification of the Dragatoan homeworld. Viridy, seems like a good place to stop. We should probably let Shin finish all the space stuff before we get into that. Entropy. I know there was some remarks you were dying to make, Viridy. Viridy, yeah, sure. Mortals always with their war and the backstabbing. Entropy, hey, Felkarai aren't mortal. Viridy, no, but they're a reflection of mortals. Chara, plus all that happened because of the original mortal race that took its destructive tendencies to the extreme. Entropy, you're sure you don't want to stop you don't want to drop the reset bombs, Viridy? Viridy, no thanks. Entropy, the humans kill you in some fanfics, so you like them now? Viridy, I don't like them overall, but they'll get better or they'll wipe themselves out on their own, and I need to be around so nature can heal in the aftermath. I can't save anything if I get myself killed. Entropy, not very pseudo-Greek god of you to show that kind of humility. Viridy, I just want some peace. Entropy, I hate to see you fall off like this. Chara, ain't orky either. Entropy, ain't orky. Viridy, can't a goddess of nature be allowed to grow? Entropy, I think a temperamental murder child is already a perfect personification of nature. Viridy, I can still be temperamental if that's what you really want. Entropy, it is. Chara, I prefer unhinged, though. Entropy, unhinged is better. Chara, okay, I think we're ready to put this up. Viridy, this is dumb. This is dumb. Don't put it up. Chara, it's up. There you go. Oh, thank you for the comments, Shin. It was absolute brain rot. You were right. I do actually hope this format isn't too off-putting, though, because I feel like the kids could benefit from getting some more exercise like this. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
No, it's funny.
I really like the banter going on with this. Yeah, the banter is pretty fun. Apparently, we have Vin Diesel in the chat who screams family. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's it. That's all. Thank you all for joining us for the evening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Big thank you, of course, goes out to our patrons, our table flippers over there. You can also become a table flipper over in Ko-fi, however you want to pronounce it. All the links are in the description. Big thank you to Draco Kraken, Rick, aka Unit Rico, and Steely for being in that tier 4, giving us all that fucking money. Jesus Christ, why do you do this? Thank you to Crimson Rose Armok, aka Shin, as well, for the tier 2 table flipping. And of course, a thank you to our 2 tier 1 contributors. Again, you can join it in the description. There's a link, as well as going on to Patreon and looking for TableTalk DND, and going over to Ko-fi and searching for the TableTalk crew, I believe. And of course, supporting us through getting the logo on whatever you want from TeePublic. There you go. Whatever you want, go for it. But I can't tell you what to do, of course, because as we all know, I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
Going over to our website, also in the description, you can find all the links that I've just talked about, as well as the things I will talk about, as well as our custom dice that you can buy. Go for it if you want to. They're there. I will send them to you personally. It's great. And of course, using our link in the description, we are a humble partner, and if you use that link, you can support us as well as Tabletop Alliance. Link in the description to find out about their charity work that they do using tabletop stuff. And right now, I think the thing is over for that, but there's the Cypher System TTRPG collection. There you go. I don't know about this. I'll look into this. That's a TTRPG that's there for you to get. There's the Metroidvania Mania. That sounds like a good bundle there. And the Choice bundle has fucking Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I highly recommend. and some other stuff here that I have not played, so I can't tell you anything about it. But I hear good things about Hi-Fi Rush, so I don't know. But anyway, link in the description. Anything you buy through the store or any of these bundles or whatever will do the supporting us and the charity. So please do that if you wish to. Other than that, free things, of course, free things. Going and subscribing, going and liking, going and commenting, all the things that you can do for free. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week for more of the show.
And maybe it won't be so awful next time.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like the videos, I mean.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.